You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. You get over the hump your way. We get over it ours. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. Let's get over it together, shall we? The Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well, David. Good morning. You know, I got fooled last night. I threw on a little baseball. It was 5-0. I said, what's the point of watching this game? The Cubs are comfortably in front, and the Marlins are going to, getting rained out, have a doubleheader. It's going to be a tough break for the Marlins, in my opinion, because now you got to play two, tough to win a doubleheader. And damned if the Cubs didn't blow a 6-0 lead.
Which is great news for the Marlins, although the rain out, not so much, as Mark mentioned. Doubleheader today, tough to win two. 90% of all doubleheaders end up in splits. That's number one. But also, Braxton Garrett was going to start last night for the Marlins, which meant he was in line to start the regular season finale on Sunday. Now they would have to bring him back on 3 days rest. You know how they are with coddling pitchers these days. So in that sense, a bad break for the Marlins. They're pitching for the final game, which could be oh so important, could be dramatically affected because of the rain out last night. The Marlins furious with the Mets, not for calling the game. The field was too wet, but apparently Mets officials did not. I mean, it rained for 4 straight days, and for the first 3 days of rain, they didn't have the tarp on the field because the Mets weren't playing. They were out of town. So the grounds crew was like, we're done for the weekend. I'll see you Monday. By the time they put the tarp on the field, it was a little wet. You know, the tropical storm, what was it, Ophelia?
Yes.
Yeah, well, they felt Ophelia last night. Tropical storm on Saturday and Sunday just rained out a game on Tuesday.
Unbelievable. And the Marlins should be PO'd.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So hopefully the Marlins can overcome it. They now control is it fate or destiny?
Oh, I think it's their playoff destiny, David.
Okay. Is that what it is? You control is fate? Is that something that befalls you? Destiny is something that you're in, control of your destiny. Is that it?
I don't really think you're in control of either of them. I guess they determine their own fate. Whatever one you want to go with, David, go with it. But they now are in control because the Cubs blew a 6-spit lead after, 5.5. They went up top of the 6, went up 6-0, and then proceeded to give up 7 runs in the final 3. In fact, the Braves didn't even need their at-bats in the 9th.
Right. The Braves down 6-0 in the 6th said, tell you what, we won't even play the 9th inning and we'll still beat you. They've hit 301 home runs.
Seems like a lot to me.
Well, if you think about it, that's like 2 a game, right? They've played 156 games, so you times that by 2, and, that's 312. They're averaging close to 2 home runs a game. They are 6 shy of the all-time record. The Minnesota Twins 4 years ago hit 307 homers. The Yankees the same year hit 306. So the Braves are chasing that as well. They're pretty good.
This just in.
Yeah. They're doing okay. Yeah. So, and yet the Orioles are only 3 games behind them. That's how good the Orioles have been. Winners last night, Rays a winner, and it's all but over in the East. It'll likely be Rays and Jays. It could be somebody else for the Rays, but the Rays will be home and the Phillies will be home. We know who the 4 seeds are, and so therefore we know who's hosting those series. And we know who the 3 seeds are. They're the Twins and the Brewers. So we're really just fighting for 5s and 6s at this point, Mark.
And will either 5 or 6 be able to do anything? Because there are some decent teams, particularly in the American League. You're going to end up with Houston or Seattle as the 6.
Yeah, right. And the other will be the 7, and we'll miss the playoffs. And you'll think, wow, that team could have won series. Yeah, absolutely. Astros and Mariners tied in the loss column. Houston a half a game ahead, so technically they are the 6. Mariners have the tiebreakers, though. By the way, the Cubs don't have a single tiebreaker. Not one. Diamondbacks, Marlins, Reds. Cubs lose all tiebreakers. Something to keep in mind there. Marlins win all tiebreakers. Giants were eliminated last night. There's not a team mathematically alive that the Marlins don't have the tiebreaker over in the National League. So keep that in mind. Do you think 3-3 from this point forward will get it done for the Marlins, or do they still need 4-2?
I'd feel a hell of a lot more comfortable at 4-2, David. But the Cubs are reeling, and with the tiebreakers, 3-3 just may get it done.
You know, it's funny what one loss can do, because the Cubs, who were reeling, then swept the weekend, and then they're up 6-0 in the 6th, and it looked as if the Cubs are about to pull what the Texas Rangers just did. The Rangers, who were reeling for 2 weeks, rattled off 6 wins in a row the right time of the year. And the Cubs looked as if like, see, we stumbled, but we picked ourselves up. Yeah, that's a tough one to overcome.
The break they get, though, is that the Marlins have to play 2 today. And as you mentioned, a lot of splits in doubleheaders. Can the Marlins do what most teams cannot? And that's win both games of a doubleheader. Not completely necessary, but it would go a long way for the Marlins to make the postseason if somehow they were able to get a doubleheader sweep today.
I mean, the Marlins know right now their magic number for the playoffs is 6. Any combination of Cubs losses and Marlins wins that equals 6 the rest of the way, and they're in. There you go. It's that simple. In fact, I'm trying to think, would it be 5? No, it would be 6. They would need 6, I think. If the Cubs go 3-2 the rest of the way, the Marlins go 3-3, okay, the Cubs will win. So, no, magic number 6.
And if you heard that broken glass last night, that was Fox and or TBS executives smashing glass when the Cubs lost.
Right. They would much prefer the Cubs as the 6th than the Marlins. Because let me tell you, that Milwaukee-Miami series, boy, will that rate. Whoo-wee. Mm-hmm. Just like they're so rooting for the Mariners over the Astros, because that Minnesota-Seattle series would do so much better than Minnesota-Houston. The big story in sports, though, has to do with the state of Florida and gambling. I mean, that's really, at least in our world, it's not the biggest story in the 49 other states. In fact, it may not be a story in the 49 other states, although this case will ultimately determine federal gaming laws the rest of the way, which could dramatically change the betting landscape in other states too. But that's for another day. But Mark, couple of Hail Marys, couple of legal Hail Marys that have been thrown that, if nothing else, add in all likelihood 60 days to when it is we're going to be able to place a bet in the state of Florida. I mean, you got the whole thing at the federal level about, obviously they're waiting to hear from the last court before the Supreme Court. The expectation is they will lose, and then they will appeal to the Supreme Court to hear the case. And many legal experts think the Supreme Court will hear the case, but that we will have gambling in this state from the time that they lose in federal court to the time it's heard in the Supreme Court. And that could get us through the rest of football season and, et cetera. Who knows? Maybe even through March Madness. But then yesterday, Mark, something that, quite frankly, and we've had Daniel Wallach and others, Dan Lust and others on this show over the last couple of years, I don't ever recall any of them mentioning. And I don't think we ever thought about it, so we wouldn't have asked it in the form of a question, but they never brought it up as a possibility. Yesterday, not just Wes Flagler, but the folks in Southwest Florida, the Bonita Fort Myers group, who owned the Naples Fort Myers Greyhound track forever, which is no longer a Greyhound track, They joined forces and appealed to the Florida Supreme Court to overturn this gaming compact, basically saying it's a monopoly. It's against the law. And if nothing else, the experts now say, well, the state's got 20 to 30 days to appeal, and then the other side will have 30 days. So, add 30 and 30 together, and where are we? At the end of November.
Yeah, we are. We've just missed another 2 months of gambling.
Uh-huh.
I've had 3 winning weeks in a row.
Yes, you have.
It doesn't work out so well for me.
Not only that, all the wins on Thursdays and Mondays, which don't count on the Miller and Moulton show, but would count with the Seminole tribe in terms of, well, the plus or minus on the app. You'd have a big plus sign right now, wouldn't you?
It would be okay.
Plus. It'd be good.
I'd be happy.
You'd be solid. You'd be solid. That's like getting off to the good start in a round of golf. You'd be on the 6th tee like 1 over. Be like, I'm hitting it well. I'm doing well. Tell you what, I'm even thinking of going for this next par 5 and 2. That's how well I'm doing. I am striking it. Sorry, man. I'm sorry. This is a double-edged sword, though. I mean, there's many of us that want to be able to start gambling. But even those of us that want to start gambling, we know the deal is not a good deal for the bettors.
No, it is not. It is a good deal for the Hard Rock.
Yeah.
Because there's no competition.
No.
So all of these commercials you see for BetMGM and FanDuel and DraftKings where you deposit $5 and get this, they're not coming here.
Nope.
Now, Hard Rock will probably do some promotion to try to entice people to gamble, but you won't be getting 6 different promotions to entice people to gamble. You'll get one. And it's their rule.
And then once they get you, what's the incentive for them to ever offer you anything again? And they can set the vig at whatever they want.
And Daniel Wallach all along has thought this was going to the Supreme Court. Yesterday, just another step in the process that may get it there. Miller and Moulton. Great show lined up for you today. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott on the show. The starting 5 in 25 minutes right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA-certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA-certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I saw that, KW. I saw that. I don't know why you bet 24 grand to win 1,000 though. I mean, it seems like a bad risk reward.
Joe Kinsey that I follow, he works for Outkick. He's got a picture of Nancy and Tanya. Nancy's on the boards, and Tanya's staring at her. And over Nancy, it says Taylor Swift, and over Tanya, it says Brittany Mahomes.
Mm. That's very funny.
Will the Marlins make the playoffs? Yes, no, who cares? Uh-oh.
What?
Oh, you're completely frozen.
Not on my end. Everything's fine on my end. I like that poll question. Did you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Go Raiders. Good luck. On my end.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. The starting five is a little more than 15 minutes away. We always have a good show lined up on Wednesday. The folks from Pro Football Network join us midway through the 7 o'clock hour. It'll be David Bearman today, and then Seth Everett and Bud Elliott. Our 8 o'clock hour. Bada bing, bada boom. So we got a lot going on. Hey, is there anything that has ever happened or could happen for you to completely give up rooting for your team?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, totally, though, forever.
Forever.
Not
If I could consistently hit the ball off the tee, David, I would give up my sports teams right now.
No. That's not that's not what I meant, but that's
well,
funny.
you asked me a question. Is there anything that would give you up rooting for your teams? I mean, I already did give up rooting for my team for a couple of years.
Right. And I know that.
Larry Nassar, I'm a Michigan State alum, and with the Larry Nassar thing and the negligence that Michigan State played in the part of that, I threw all my stuff in a garbage bag until every member of the Board of Trustees was gone.
Right. But you've come back. They got rid of everybody who was, guilty and guilty by association. So you now, did you get rid of that stuff, or was it just in a garbage bag in the closet somewhere?
Just in a garbage bag in the closet.
Okay. The golf bag, the Michigan State golf bag, did you keep that?
I kept it. Yes, I did.
Okay. So it's all back in circulation.
The golf bag's not back in circulation. I still go with the other golf bag. But yeah, the clothes are back in circulation.
Okay. I didn't properly phrase the question. I meant, is there something your team could do that would not like something that could happen in which you said, I'd give up sports if I could drive it, 240 down the middle every day, forget it. Okay. That's good to know. And believe me, there are others right now going, well, I have to admit, he makes a good point there. And if I could have this happen, I'd give up sports too. But anyway, something your team has done. Maybe there's somebody out there who has actually given up on their childhood team and they're done. That's it. They're done. Because there's a Raiders fan who's middle-aged, and no, real middle-aged, like he's in his early 40s, not like, those of us that are 57, like me going, I'm middle-aged. Really? You're planning on living to $1.14 or even $1. Okay. So the middle-aged man who said that's it, the Raiders have broken him. Can't do it anymore. It's affecting my mental health. Okay. Can't do it. I'm done with the Raiders. I gave him what I gave him. Can't do it anymore. And I'm just wondering, is there a team out there that it sounds like just from wins and losses, this man has been broken? I'm curious, one, if that could ever happen.
Not to me. I don't think it could, because my cousin called me a couple weeks ago. He, like I, graduated from Michigan State. He just said, man, is it hard. It is hard to root. Could we get a break here? As a fan, we got the coach getting fired for sexual assault over the phone. And I still watch my Spartans. He still watches them. So I don't think so, David. I mean, because it's been rough for the school that I root for, the teams that I root for more than any other teams. And even probably my next favorite teams, the damn Detroit Red Wings, and they suck, David. They're terrible. Do you know what I did last night? Do you know what happened when I turned the Braves-Cubs game off? What I turned on?
No, you did not. No, you did not.
You're damn right I did. I turned on the third period of preseason hockey.
Say it ain't so. Unbelievable. Now, listen, some people are just mentally tougher than others. It was 2 years ago that Felipe was broken from game 5 of an Eastern Conference final. And that's it. That broke him. That broke him on the Heat. They lost at home to the Celtics, They were going to lose the series because of it, not go to the NBA Finals. And Felipe was a broken young man. And then amazingly, 48 hours later, when Jimmy Butler, or as Felipe now calls him, Jimmy Buckets, went to Boston and put on a LeBron-like performance and extended the series to a game 7, Felipe was back. I mean, it just, they broke him, mental health anguish, but then, they brought him back. But if we had urged Felipe to take to, it was then called Twitter, okay, after that game 5 loss, Mark, he would have sounded a lot like this Raiders fan in his early 40s. Just like the mental health, I can't handle it. I can't take it anymore. Right. And Felipe was 22 at the time.
Right. He was done. They had broken him. You're right.
He was fragile. He was. So, I'm just wondering. And for those of you out there as well, 21,000 on the text line. If you're watching on Twitch, you can chime in the Twitch chat room. And, it's like I was very angry with the NHL. Very angry. And I gave up the NHL for a year. And it was very hard because the Rangers went to the conference finals that year. It was very hard. I thought the sports gods were going to play a very cruel joke on me and have the Rangers win the cup in a year in which I had given up hockey.
That would have been cruel. And
yes.
It was doubly hard for you because you're not just a Ranger fan, you're a hockey fan.
Yes.
And the Stanley Cup playoffs
are the best.
For you and I, there's not much better than the Stanley Cup playoffs.
No.
And that I remember that being hard on you, not just the Rangers. You couldn't watch the playoffs, and the playoffs are riveting.
Yes, they're always riveting. I mean, they really are.
And you had to stick to your guns.
Mm-hmm.
You said you had given up for a year.
Yep. And it accomplished absolutely nothing. I mean, I caused myself, mental health anguish, really. But, it's like you say you're giving up something for Lent, and you got to stick to it. Why? Because I said so. Oh, all right. Good for you. So, I mean, listen, I'm still a Knicks fan. Okay? I mean, you got to admit. I mean, they're trying to break you. I mean, would you say they're trying to break you?
David, I'm sure they are. It's hard for me to dive into your low end of fandom because the city of which teams that I root for, they're collectively all really bad right now.
Well, they are. There's no doubt. You got a thing going right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the school that I root for is in the toilet. The rival school has their act completely together right now.
Right. Maybe the best football team they've had in 25 years. Right.
Oh, not a doubt.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, life is grand for you right now.
So I have a lot of Knicks in my life, if you know what I mean, David.
We gentlemen in our Twitch chat room, the Bears, he's 58. He goes, got to admit, they're kind of getting me towards the end of my rope. I'm getting there. I can see it from here is what he's saying. I'm just wondering. If you out there can connect with that Las Vegas Raiders fan who's like, I can't take it anymore. The Raiders are killing me. They're bad for my life. I got to give them up.
Or is it your team? And
Right.
It's always your team. And no matter what, no matter how good, how bad, how ugly it gets, that's my team.
Right. Literally, till death do us part.
You could be divorced 3 times. You could be on wife number 4, but you're on team number 1.
Correct. Maybe that's a poll question.
I think it is.
Okay.
We stumbled into something. Well done, David. Miller and Moulton. A poll question and the starting 5 on the other side. Look at this show go. Holy cow. Must be the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
How would you phrase that, David? Would you consider bailing on your team's fandom? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay.
I know. Sorry, I didn't move there. So you thought I'm trying to think of how to phrase it. Adam, that's not bad.
How bad does your team to be for you to quit being a fan? Or is there something that could happen?
Is right.
What's the
It's
limit?
really losing, though. It's ultimately losing. You know.
Sounds like a fan transfer portal.
Well, that's the whole other thing. Is that if you dump your team, you don't have the and that's what's been hard for me. My teams all suck. I can watch the NFL. That's why I love the NFL. I can watch the best games, but I don't like the NBA enough to just start watching random games of good teams. I need my team to at least have a pulse. And they haven't had a pulse for over a decade.
Well, I feel like for most of my life, I didn't really focus on the NFL too much.
Yeah.
The Dolphins
Right.
weren't anything, and I feel like a lot of people in Miami didn't really focus on the NFL too much.
But that's different from.
That's a generational thing.
Well, yeah, and also, then you're not a diehard fan, to be brutally honest.
Oh, no,
You're not
I was
of the
focusing
Dolphins.
more- No, I was focusing more on Chris Coughlin's rookie season in 2010.
Right. It sounds like right.
or whatever.
It sounds like you're a diehard Marlins and Heat fan, but you're not, and Canes, but you're not a diehard Dolphins fan.
I've always had an NFL team, and it is the Dolphins. Put it that way.
Yeah, but if you weren't suffering, okay, from your 8 years of age to now, then you're not a diehard fan. Like you said, it's been kind of a casual thing. Well, that's, I mean, if their record, it should have been suffering.
All right. How do you want to phrase this question?
Can your team lose enough to make you divorce them?
Yes or no? Probably one of our best poll questions.
Yes, in parentheses, I'm close now. No, till death do us part.
That's 25 characters. No comma till death do us part. Actually, it's till death do us part, not tell death do us part, dumbass.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
"22 minutes before the hour, top of the morning to you. Happy hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Bearman of Pro Football Network. I have a feeling the Dolphins might come up 1 hour from now. It's just a hunch. Seth Everett and Bud Elliott in our dynamic 8 o'clock hour on a Wednesday. The shape up continues, ladies and gentlemen. Week 2 off to a strong start. And by shape up, we mean calisthenics while sitting in our chairs. We mean a daily poll question. Mark, what do we have?
Based on our last conversation, can your team lose enough to make you divorce them? The answers are simple. Yes or no, till death do us part.
A Raiders fan gave up on them yesterday. Took to social media, said over 20 years of anguish. They're causing me mental health harm. I can't take it anymore. I have to let them go. Costing me time, money, energy, happiness. I must bid you a fond farewell. You broke me. And we're just wondering, is there a team, quite frankly, you're considering divorcing now? Just so you know, unlike in the real world, you can't remarry. No. No.
Yeah, this is final. When
Right.
you divorce a team, you've divorced a team. You're done with them. And
Right.
I think the no till death do us part should be, if it's not in the 85+% of this, I will be stunned.
So in
Because you
other
have
words,
to go find another team, David. That's the other. If you divorce a team, what are you going to remarry?
well, I mean, we divorce, we do that in real life. So you're telling me we're
There are a lot more women out there than there are sports teams, David.
True. That's a dadgum good point, Mark. And maybe that's why we're more loyal to our sports teams than we are our significant others.
You say it all the time. NFL coach gets fired. There's only 32 of these jobs.
That's true. That's why you put up with, Zach Wilson, because where are you going to go? Right.
And then we just look to one another for sympathy. Whether it's another a fan of the same team or a fan of another bad team that you can sit there and go, oh, your Jets. Oh, my, whatever.
I mean, when you come to think of it, when you try to have the real life analogy, it is interesting that we all get along so well sitting at the table, married to the same, team, if you will. I don't think that would go along very well in the real world, unless you're in Utah. But
hello.
Oh, it's early. 18 before the hour. Time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, the Rays beat the Red Sox 9-7, but Baltimore, they just don't lose. They beat Washington 1-0. Orioles' magic number to clinch the East is 2. Rays with 96 wins. Pretty impressive. Going to be a wild card. Yankees shut out Toronto 2-0. Austin Wells, a 2-run homer in the 9th to win it for the Yankees, who need one more win to avoid a losing season and continue the streak. Toronto still in good shape to make the playoffs. Seattle with a must win. They had lost 4 in a row. They beat Houston 6-2. They're tied with the Astros in the loss column. Houston has one more win. Seattle owns the tiebreaker against Houston. Those two teams play today. A monster regular season game. Texas saw their 6-game winning streak snapped. Angels beat them 9-3, but the Rangers' magic number to clinch the West is down to 3. Phillies not only clinched the playoff spot, but clinched the 4 seed with the 3-2 extra inning win over the Pirates. So the Phillies will host. Right now it would be the Diamondbacks, but we'll get to Arizona in a moment. So the Phillies clinched the 4 seed. The Brewers clinched the 3 seed. They won the Central yesterday despite losing to the Cardinals 4-1 because the Cubs blew a 6-0 lead in the 6th and lost to the Braves 7-6. The Braves have hit 301 home runs, by the way, on the season. The Major League record's 307. Arizona has a 1-game lead for the 5 seed thanks to their 15-4 win over the White Sox while the Cubs lost. The Cubs loss is terrific news for the Marlins because they're now tied with the Cubs in the loss column for the final playoff spot. They own the tiebreaker over the Cubs. Unfortunately for the Marlins, their game against the Mets yesterday rained out. They'll play a doubleheader today, which is not ideal, but also it messes with their pitching for Sunday in Pittsburgh, which could be a game to make the playoffs. The Reds stay alive 11-7 over Cleveland. By the way, with Cleveland's loss and Detroit's win over KC, the Tigers are actually in second in the Central.
How about that?
The Royals have lost 103 games. Don't feel badly for them. The A's have lost 109. Minnesota beat them 11-3. 109. Damn, that's tough to do. I mean, they may not win 50 games this year. Wow. Padres beat the Giants 4-0. This is fascinating. They both have the same record, yet the Giants are eliminated from the playoffs and the Padres are still mathematically alive. Dodgers and Rockies split a doubleheader. It was meaningless. Adam Wainwright announced I've thrown my last pitch. I was just tossing the ball and my arm hurts. I'm done. So the 42-year-old will retire with 200 wins. And finally, Brooks Robinson. There are those who consider him the greatest third baseman of all time, and here's why. He won 16 consecutive Gold Gloves. He was an 18-time All-Star. He led the Orioles to 4 World Series appearances and 2 World Series titles, the one of which in 1970, he was the World Series MVP. He was also a league MVP. He also had over 2,800 hits. Brooks Robinson, who's on the pantheon of Baltimore athletes with Unitas and Cal Ripken. Brooks Robinson died at the age of 86. Jim Palmer was quite emotional on the air yesterday, if you'd like to go find that on social media. And no one has a bad word to say about Brooks Robinson. He's up there with Harmon Killebrew and the nicest people you've ever met, if you were fortunate enough to, in the sports world. All right, bunch of NFL news. Mark, Jets fans should feel a lot better because they went out and got themselves a veteran quarterback.
They sure did, David.
Okay, so it's Trevor Siemian. Okay, so he hasn't won a game as a starter in 6 years. Okay, he couldn't beat out Jake Browning for the backup job in Cincinnati. And he's 31. But hey, Trevor Siemian, Tim Boyle, they're ready. I don't know how badly Zach Wilson has to play in order for someone else to actually take snaps with the Jets, because he seems to have crossed that threshold. I mean, I think we're entering Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell territory here.
It's really hard to see a path where it's not that, David. I mean, that's, sure, that's a bold accusation when you start comparing Zach Wilson to the biggest quarterback bust of all time. But when was he taken in the draft?
Mark, that would be second.
Yeah.
Russell was taken first. Leaf was taken second. Yeah, he was taken second overall. Mekhi Becton was taken 11th, by the way. When I'm calling for Joe Douglas, I know he had some good picks. I get it. Hey, Dave Gettleman's got like 8 good things he can put on his resume with the Giants, too. He had 4 years. They sucked all 4. I mean, the record is what the record is here. He had 2 top 11 picks that he completely botched. If he botched the 1 quarterback draft selection, are you really going to trust him 2 years from now when Aaron Rodgers retires to pick the next quarterback? I mean, honestly, Jets fans, I'm not being a jerk here. This is just reality. If we all did our job the way Joe Douglas has done his, yeah, the boss would say, yeah, he had a few months there where he was a great sales guy. But at the end of the day, the numbers just don't add up. I got to let him go.
At the end of the day, he lost the biggest account. Because that's what the number 2 overall pick is. Means he hit a lot of singles, and that's great. But the production of our biggest account dropped off the face of the map because you picked number 2 overall and it was a bust. That's just reality.
The Packers are optimistic that both Aaron Jones and Christian Watson will play Thursday against the Lions. In fact, they said Aaron Jones is definitely going to be back. And as for Watson, he practiced Wednesday and Friday last week. So they kind of held him out as a precaution and won anyway. So I would expect to see him Thursday against the Lions. Carolina safety Xavier Woods out 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring. Listen, back up the truck on the Vikings this week is kind of the case that I'm making here. Because safety Xavier Woods is out with a hamstring. Cornerback C.J. Henderson is likely out. All right? They already have their best linebacker, Shaq Thompson, out for the year. Frankie Luvu is doubtful, another starting linebacker. J.C. Horn, who was their top corner, is out for most of the year. They're out 5 defensive starters from 2 weeks ago against the Vikings Sunday. And they don't think Bryce Young's playing either. I mean, it'd be pretty gutsy to put the Vikings as your pick in the, elimination pool.
Really gutsy.
But I'd back up the truck on the Vikings Sunday. Just saying. We have 4 0-3 teams. They're all playing each other. Because aren't the Broncos and the Bears playing?
Yes, they are.
That's funny how the NFL schedule maker just gets lucky sometimes. Hey, the Saints signed quarterback Jake Luton to the active roster. That's a strong indication Derek Carr ain't playing. And Jameis Winston's starting against the Bucs Sunday. This is craziest thing out there. He claims he was taken to a behavioral health center against his will by the Las Vegas Fire Department last week and kept there for the last 4 days. He's out of the unit now. The Raiders will not let him near the team facility. Nobody will comment about anything. Raiders saying it's a personal matter. Las Vegas saying HIPAA, man, can't say a word. Tampa police now investigating Bucs wide receiver Mike Williams' death, claiming that after the construction accident, which left him partially paralyzed, he may have received unprescribed drugs from someone while in the hospital. Was this an assisted suicide? They're investigating. College football playoff meetings taking place at Big Ten headquarters. It looks as if they are going to formally adopt the 5 conferences get the automatic spots, 7 at-larges once the Pac-12 officially goes away. And sports betting in Florida looks like it's put on the shelf for another 60 days. A lawsuit before the Florida Supreme Court ruling that this compact is a monopoly and is illegal. We'll likely get a 30-day response from both sides. That adds 60 days to now. We're talking about late November. Yeah. But for those of us that think that this is a monopoly, and why should the rules in our state be different than the other 34? In the long run, it could be better for the gambler. It's just not in the short run at all. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I'm trying to figure out if Chandler Jones is getting paid because he's still on the active roster. He's on one of those, non-football injury lists.
Which I think you get paid when you're on that, David.
He's at $17 million a year, by the way, he's making. Now, it sounds like he's going through some kind of mental health crisis here, but he's getting $1 million a week. I mean, he can afford the care. Hopefully he gets it.
It certainly seems as if he needs it. This is a bizarre story on all ends. David Bearman from Pro Football Network will join us in the 7 o'clock hour. Seth Everett and Bud Elliott in the 8 o'clock hour right here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologist. master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Wow, Brooks Robinson holds the record for most games in which he drove in the only run in a 1-0 victory. And the Orioles won 1-0 last night.
I think Blyleven could be wrong. Blyleven holds the record. He has 60 shutouts in his career. 20 of them were 1-0 wins. Yeah, love those 1-0 stats. Somebody put out the Miller Lite commercial that Frank and Brooks Robinson did together. Obviously, one guy black, one guy white, but, last name Robinson, teammates with the Orioles. And, of course, you end up getting to, less filling tastes great, differing at the end. But, cute commercial back in the day. DC, I'm not backing up the truck against the Vikings. I'm backing up the truck on the Vikings. The Carolina Panthers right now are a mess. By the way, who owns their draft pick? That would be the Bears.
How are the renovations coming along, David? Everything on schedule?
No. Well, not from, the original thing was, we'll get this done in 4 weeks. That got amended to 5 pretty quickly. I'm told we're on schedule for 5, which means 2 more weeks.
How much extra time did you get at the rental?
I originally booked a 6-week stay. Yeah. Mark, I grew up in the Northeast. Okay. We always factor construction delays into everything, whether a union's involved or not. Yeah, him and Tommy John, I think, there was Blyleven, Cott, and Tommy John, and they were all between 283 and 288.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? David Bearman of Pro Football Network will join us in about 35 minutes' time. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott in our great 8 hour. Our theme today, which we put into our poll question. Remember, folks, the Shape Up is underway. All right, we have a poll question every day in the first half hour of the show. Fired up, ready to go. Posted at that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. We are on top of things.
You know, when you give that description, it almost sounded genuine. In fact, it did for the first 75 to 80% of that. And then at the end, the snark comes out. And we can feel it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I was trying
a little bit.
I was trying really hard there.
Well, you shouldn't have to try to embrace the shape up. That's all. It should just be part of your life, David.
Why? Now, listen, I'm very fond of you. I like us as a radio couple. I really do. Okay, but you do have to admit certain truth. There are some things we are pretty good at. Okay, there are a few things not so much. Poll questions always been a problem for Miller and Moulton.
Well, it's because of neglect. It's not because of effort. See, what happens is, and I witnessed it this morning. Felipe thought he had a poll question before the show.
Right. Which, by the way, was awesome that he had a poll question idea so early, because then that got us percolating because we were lost.
100%. But what happened was, instead of taking that poll question, it might be a little dated, let's move on to the next one, it turned into a 5-minute discussion with Felipe about the poll question, even though 30 seconds after we had decided it wasn't a good poll question.
That's okay, though.
It turned into a segment.
That's okay. That's just like morning stretching. That's all that is. So we stretched a little longer than normal. That's all. But eventually, what did it get us to? It got us to exercise, or for us, a poll question.
And that poll question is, can your team lose enough to make you divorce them? Yes, no, till death do us part.
That's in honor of the Raiders fan who took to social media yesterday. He's in his early 40s. He's given him basically, as he put it, the 25 best years of his life, and he can't take it anymore. They're causing him too much mental health, pain, and anguish. He just can't do it any longer.
And Big OC sent back and I happened to tweet this out or X this out or Twix this out on my account. I did put it up on FLSportsNetwork.com. David will retweet it at some point here in the near future when he makes his vote. But Big OC asked the question, what if you were just having an affair on your sports team, but you didn't divorce them? You know, you just kind of found another to play around with. And you know who that is? That's been the Patriot fan for the past 3 years. Because they were cheating on the Patriots with the Bucs while Tom Brady was playing there.
Well, hold on. Is it cheating if you had agreed to the separation? I mean,
Yes.
the Patriots fan said to the organization, I love you. I will always love you. I will come back to you. But I am going to go to Florida, okay, for a short time. I'm just going to spend some time with friends and family, and maybe
that was cheating. That was flat out cheating. David, I don't recall a big number of 49ers fans that became Kansas City Chief fans when Montana went to the Chiefs. They stayed with the Niners.
Well, but here's the thing. See, if you left the Patriots for the Bucs, you know, that's, I mean, I just thought to me, it was, they had agreed to a separation.
I don't look at it that way. I look at it as there obviously was a divorce in New England. And when there are divorces, David, sometimes the friends have to choose which side. You know, you're still married. Couple gets divorced. You only pick one. You either are still friends with the husband or you're still friends with the wife. It's impossible to be friends with both.
So you don't think this was a kid choosing to go live with dad for 3 years before going back to mom? Because, let's face it, dad's more fun. Okay. But at the end of the day, I love my mom. She's stable, the whole deal. She cooks a great bird on Thanksgiving. Okay, I'm back. I'm just, it's not as much fun. Don't get me wrong. No?
It was cheating. To me, it was blatant cheating.
Okay, fine. By the way, there were a few. See, the thing is, the Niners still stayed at an elite level even when Joe went to Kansas City.
No, I'm aware.
I mean, both the Chiefs and the Niners, Joe's first year in Kansas City, lost in their conference championship game. I mean, Steve Young a little better than Mac Jones. See, that's.
I got you.
Okay,
I understand. But if you're a fan of a team, you're a fan of a team. You don't just switch. And there were a lot that said, "Oh, well, I'm a Patriot fan, but now I'm a Bucs fan because of Brady." That's cheating.
Well, that's just a fan of the player then. And
yeah.
then
Right. They cheated on their team for 3 years because of a player. You are a Heat fan. You're a diehard Heat fan.
Right. And I also I love LeBron. I think he's one of my favorite players in the NBA.
Okay. Heat play the Lakers. Who you rooting for?
The Heat 1,000%.
There you go.
But does that make the Lakers my side piece?
You're cheating. No matter what, you're cheating. You're cheating on your team.
But if you love watching a player enough that is not on your team, that you are invested into them as long as they are not playing your team, are you granted a side piece in this?
Felipe, it's very obvious you're single. But I know you are in a committed relationship. I want you to go home after the show today. I want you to look your girlfriend in the eye and tell her how much you care about her. Say, but we were discussing this on the show today, and you know how much I care for you. But like in sports, I love the Heat, but I also love LeBron. And I care so much for you, but I think I should be able to have a side piece. How do you think that would go over?
Not well.
Thank you. A side piece is cheating.
We're talking about
a side piece is cheating.
Of course it is, but we're talking about sports.
I'm just thrilled that Felipe has said side piece 3 times. Honestly, I feel as if our show's gone to a whole new level. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So that's our poll question. And I have to admit, I'm a pretty loyal guy. But with friends, like if you cross me, okay, there is a line of demarcation with me. And if I feel you've crossed it, you're dead to me. And I tell you, by the way, you're dead to me. I mean, there's no ambiguity here. So you would think that some of my sports teams have crossed that line. In fact, I know 2 of them have.
Oh, and the Knicks have definitely crossed that line.
Oh, please.
David, a couple of times.
They just drive all over that line, taunting me the whole time. Okay, and I love them. But let me tell you, the Mets have crossed the line too, and I love them.
Probably more than the Knicks have because they've broken your heart in ways. The Knicks have just been bad for a long time.
Exactly.
The Mets have had you on the brink of where you think really good things are going to happen and have crushed you.
And it stays that way for an hour and a half. Exactly. Okay. And to me, the Mets are the diva wide receiver. I just love them. Love them. Can't get enough of them. The Mets are Randy Moss to me. Love them. And occasionally you get Randy Moss with the Raiders. I get it. Randy Moss with the Titans. I get it. But let me tell you, when you get Randy Moss with the Vikings and the Patriots. So, yep. But I can't. I'm a till death do us part when it comes to the teams. I am. I'm the good, the bad, and the ugly. I take it all. Oh, do I take it all?
Yes, you do. And thank goodness for your Rangers right now.
Mark, I'm 57. They've won 1 cup.
Yeah, I know, but they're the only thing you got going for you at this moment in time. With the disappointing Mets season, we know how the next year is going to turn out.
Mark, I'm not kidding. I'm still living off of Eli and the Giants. I mean, when I said out loud after they won their 4th, they're good. They don't have to do anything else ever. They took that literally, okay, because they haven't done squat since. They're going on 12 years, with one playoff win. So, and unfortunately, most of the rest of my team said, well, we don't have to do anything for Moulton. He's still living off the Giants. So, yeah, I get it. But you're right. The Rangers, they've been good to really good for 10 years, but not lightning. That's could we get to the can you get me to the lightning level once?
And I
One
guess,
time.
I guess, the more I'm thinking about it, as Felipe made his comment and you're talking, David, I have had a bunch of side pieces for the last decade. I've flirted with the Lightning.
The
Because they've been
Warriors.
so entertaining to watch.
You come on now. You dated the Warriors for 5 years.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, yes, that was a public affair you had with Steph and the Warriors.
Yeah, that made page 6 of the Post. Absolutely, yes. David.
You went out there, visited the San Francisco Bay Area, bought merchandise, came back and announced you were like Ali when he went to Africa to go fight Foreman. And he was married and he flaunted his mistress. And he basically said, yeah, I know I'm married, but I'm with her now. I mean, that's what you were with the Golden State Warriors.
It's true because I have never worn any Piston garb in my life, and I wear a Golden State Warriors t-shirt.
For sports fandom, there is more of an excuse for strumpet behavior. There's a lot to love.
I can honestly say, in sports and in life, I've never had a side piece. My wife has just left the room, so I could say, I have to admit, occasionally it's appealing, but I don't think I'll ever go there. Honey, I just meant sports. Just sports.
Not even the Dolphins offense could get you, David? Not even a little bit?
No, but I will stare at her. Okay. Somebody may come over to me, tap me on the shoulder and go, you're embarrassing yourself. And
this is getting awkward.
No. Yes.
This is starting to get awkward, David.
Yes.
You are staring.
Close your mouth, sir, when you gawk at my woman. Okay. I'm sorry.
Now, if the Dolphins will go back to their original colors, Moulton could be persuaded to cheat.
Yeah,
That's all I'm telling you.
That could be, I'll fly into town every 3 months and have a one-night stand. Absolutely.
Can your team lose enough to make you divorce them? It's at that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FL Sports Network on Twitter. Thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Bill, they should have beaten them, but you know why they didn't? Brady. There's no doubt if I ever cheated on my wife, it'd be with the equivalent of a diva wide receiver. Brian, if you're a Maple Leafs fan and you're still a Maple Leafs fan, then yeah. So, Mark, you cheated on the Pistons, but that's it.
Yeah, I've cheated on the
Cheated on the Pistons, not the Tigers, not the Wings, never Michigan State. Okay. And you never married the Lions.
No, I've dated in the NFL.
Right. So are you still
funny
cheating?
thing is, I couldn't become a Tampa Bay Bucks fan, if you know what I mean.
Right. Let me ask you this. Are you still having the affair with the Warriors?
Oh, yeah, Draymond's still there. As long as he's there, I'm in.
Okay. So this is an ongoing thing. This is we're
like a second marriage.
We're almost coming up on 10 seasons here.
It's a second marriage. I've been with the Warriors nearly as long as I've been with my wife.
I mean, the Warriors are like Camilla here. I mean, married to die, but I mean, hell, man. No, Dead Struck. He was he was totally open with his affair with the Warriors. No, announced it, wore a T-shirt and everything. It's not like the Pistons didn't know where he had been.
I will say I used to love watching the Seahawks back in 2013, 2014, 2015. Really just Russell Wilson being good era, LOB era. Used to love those teams. But I also think it's safer to like a team that's not in your conference rather than one that's in your conference.
It's the 100-mile rule.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have an affair with someone who looks like your wife.
Right. You can't start liking a division rival, for example.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's a hump day. Thanks for, getting over it together with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. David Bearman, Pro Football Network, will join us a little more than 15 minutes. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott in our 8 o'clock hour. The shape-up continues. We had a poll question ready early. We're firing at you often. We actually like this one. So in honor of the Raiders fan who publicly yesterday divorced himself from the team, they're just too much pain. Literally, he said they're affecting my mental health and my happiness and the rest of my life. I must let you go. Have you, or is there a team that could lose enough that you would divorce them?
Graham sent an X to me and said, yes, signed, a rehabilitated Bears fan.
Wow.
Divorced the Chicago Bears.
Wow. And that's quite the fandom there, because think about it. If you're a Bears fan, there's a very good chance that you also were a fan of a Chicago baseball team, and they both had staggeringly long championship droughts. So he's, made it through the baseball droughts, either one, but can't take the Bears being the Bears of the last 30 years any longer. Wow. Brian, Mark, in a Twitch chat room, I'm a Maple Leafs fan. They can't lose enough. He's in. 1961, by the way.
Right, that's a lifetime of losing.
No, 67. I'm sorry. 67, the last Maple Leafs Cup, just for the record. Mark Miller was not yet born.
That is a lifetime of losing right there.
Right.
And being heartbroken a lot.
Yes.
There's no higher high in sports, though, than being the fan of that team and then winning. And when the Cubs won in 2016, that was one of the greatest moments in North American sports history. Why? Because it had been 108 years.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, the Red Sox in 04, unless they took your team out along the way, it was difficult for a Yankees fan to feel good for them after being up 3-0 in the LCS. But for everyone else, it's kind of like, man, we should all be that happy once in our life. Now look at that. That's amazing.
It's like you say, David.
And look what it started. Look what that started. Look what we had to deal with because of that.
There's no
2
doubt.
decades.
Well, I have to admit, though, Tom and Bill and the boys had already put 2 trophies on the mantle. Okay. And then, the Red Sox said, oh, we got 4 more coming. And the Bruins said, hell, we'll go to 3 finals. We'll dance with Lord Stanley. Celtics said, we'll put a big 3 together. Anybody ever done that before? We'll put a big 3 together. We can win. Oh, yeah.
Glad that's over.
I don't know. The basketball team's going to be good for a while. The baseball team could be good any minute. It's not like they're lacking for resources. But so that's our poll question. All right. Can your team put you through enough hell that you say, I love you, but I must divorce you now? Or no, there's nothing they can do. This is till death do my part, baby. This is it. And I'm a till death do I part guy. I am. I realized that as I was answering the poll question. Mark, I don't know what your earliest sports fandom memory was. Mine, I was 8, maybe 9, but right around there. Since that point, so technically the Knicks have won 2 titles in my lifetime, but not that I remember. I was 7 when they won their last title. I was not a fan yet. I have no memory of the Frazier, Monroe, great Knicks teams. None. So I don't count those. The Mets 69 World Series. I can't count that. It was 3. So in my lifetime, I got 1 World Series. I got 1 Stanley Cup. I have no NBA championships.
And in my teens and early 20s, obviously my teams were good. The Pistons had it going on. The Red Wings had it going on. The Tigers had a great run 2 different times in my lifetime.
Right.
Won 1 World Series. So there's been a lot of good, not a lot of championships on the baseball end, but they certainly gave me tons of pleasure from 84 through the last run when they had Verlander and Scherzer there.
Through 2013. Yeah, you didn't have a lot of bad teams for 30 years. Right. Mm-hmm.
And when one team was bad, the other sports seemed to be able to take up the slack.
Right. The Tigers and Pistons led into the Red Wings, which basically got you through to, the Tigers being good again.
And this Izzo guy's always done pretty well with the basketball team that made my winners go by a little more easily.
That you have to admit, the Izzo D'Antonio, that worked for you.
It did.
It really did. That helped. Right. That's the other thing. I'm a Rutgers fan. Does anything more have to be said?
And that's where, right now in this state, where the Knowles fan starting to get that peacock walk going a little bit.
Yep.
Chest puffed out just a little bit more.
Yep. Hey, man, sorry about those last 7-8 years. Really sorry about that. But we're back. We're back. You're still with us, right? Yeah, I'm still with you. It wasn't easy, though. Got to admit.
It's why I think, the Gators had a really nice win against Tennessee. I think Saturday's kind of a big deal.
Got to keep it going.
I really do. I think that would be a really nice win. And it's one Florida fan thinks that they should have automatically, and it's not going to be that easy.
How close is the Canes fan, by the way? You got to figure a Canes fan's a Dolphin fan. You both had your moments. Dolphins moments were the 70s and the 80s. Canes moments were the 80s and the 90s. Basically, 2000, 2001, 02. But,
Normally, I'd say Canes fan would be puffing their chest out after beating A&M, but I think they've seen that early win and not be able to build upon it.
Beat FSU. That's all I have to say. Beat FSU, and that chest will be pumping. I mean, to win at Doak Campbell, you'll see some chest pumping there.
That'd be a great one. You know what? They're entitled to chest pump if they can pull that sucker off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They'll be about a 10-point dog in that game. So, against your rival? Whew. So, that's all. That's what we're wondering today. Okay, can your team put you through enough, as this fan said, they're affecting my mental health. They're impacting the rest of my life, which we could argue is a you problem, but we'll save that for another day. 29 minutes past the hour. Felipe, do you have a play of the day today?
Yes, sir, I do. The reigning National League champion Philadelphia Phillies are back in the postseason after Johan Rojas had a walk-off single to put away the Pirates last night. The call, Sports Radio 94 WIP.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Rojas. Bednar ready, the pitch. Swinging a ground ball up the middle. It's a base hit. Sawinski coming on. He fields. Pache coming home. The throw. It's not in time. And the Phillies walk him off and walk into the postseason as Johan Rojas, the rookie, has won it.
Phillies securing their spot back in the postseason with a 3-2 victory at home against the Pirates. Right now, the season ended, they would be facing the Diamondbacks in the playoffs, but still a lot of work to go left. About 5 games left overall around that bubble of teams hunting for the wild card spots.
Phillies are definitely the 4 seed, though. And when the Orioles clinch, the Rays are locked in as the 4. So they'll both be hosting their best of 3 next week. They host all 3 games. Just like the 3 seeds will do against the 6. The Twins and the Brewers will host their 3-game series as well next week. Just trying to figure out who it is. A reminder, Marlins own all the tiebreakers. Marlins end up with a tie with somebody for a playoff spot, they go.
Is it the same if there's a 3-way tie?
Yes, Marlins own all the breakers. Because they owned it. The only team literally that affected the Marlins was the Giants. 2-way, 3-way, 4-way. David Bearman, Pro Football Network. He's next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I'm just going to say it. I'm not a WNBA fan, and I think everybody knows that, but I hate the New York Liberty's court.
Oh, my gosh. So they play in the Barclays Center where the Nets play, and it's the same thing with the Nets. Like the gray court you're talking about.
I hate the gray court.
That is so funny that you say that, because I was just talking about that with Soph yesterday. She despises it. Because we went to a Brooklyn Nets game in February, and she said that is the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
It's so bad.
And by the way, their old court was gorgeous.
Well, wasn't their old?
Just lost you, David.
Uh-oh. Yeah, you glitched. Oh, we got you.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, we lost you for a second. My bad. What were you saying? Isn't there old court what?
Six-run lead, Joe. 6-0 in the sixth. Braves went 3-2-2, I believe, in the 6th, 7th, and 8th. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep, that's exactly what they did. I was really happy to see South Florida get that win, knowing we had Golish on this week.
Totally. By the way, did you see what Dion did yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Smart. Not like there's not a player every year who's probably worthy.
Exactly.
So.
Well, he hired the one coach that was at Lehigh who works for him.
James Chaney, I think. Yeah. Who was a teammate of his at North Fort Myers, I believe, back in the day.
Was he? James Chaney follows me on Twitter because I was following because he always had good high school stuff, and he followed me back. Could probably send him a DM. I don't know if Dion would let him do an interview, but we might want to reach out and why not?
I bet Dion would. We could do it in the 9 o'clock hour. It'd be 7 o'clock his time. You know, they're up early. They're coaches.
Exactly.
No. RCB, no. Nope. No, believe it or not, it worked against us that we were from quote unquote when we didn't, weren't in other markets, that we were from Fort Myers. At the time that we were approaching him, he had not broken the thaw with Southwest Florida. We had a chance for 1 year. He had let Sam Cook, the longtime news press columnist, they had befriended. And Sam was a big advocate of Miller and Moulton. And he was saying to Dion, you should go on with them. They're on your side, it'd be fine. Nobody's going to bring up anything, you don't want brought up. But no. Nope. When I was in local television, I interviewed Dion, but we've never interviewed Dion. And I don't think Mark, when he was solo elsewhere or in Florida, has ever interviewed.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And at 22 minutes before this hour, we're always joined by someone with Pro Football Network. And for much of this year, it's been David Bearman, who you can follow on Twitter/X at David Bearman PFN. That's BEARMAN PFN, David Bearman PFN. David, it's David and Mark. Good morning. How are you?
Very good. It's finally stopped raining up here in the Northeast. How are you guys?
Well, we're great. I don't know if you're aware. Hold on. The Dolphins have just scored another touchdown. Listen, you like to break things down and get into the nitty-gritty at Pro Football Network. We had Gary Danielson on a couple days ago, and he said, I think this speed motion is changing the NFL. He had the feeling watching the Dolphins Sunday that he had 8-9 years ago when he was watching Steph Curry and the Warriors, when they first kind of, took the 3 ball and went crazy with it. And I'm just curious what you and your staff in looking at the Dolphins so far this year have seen.
Yeah, Adam Beasley, who's been on this program, is our lead Dolphins writer and NFL director down there for the Dolphins. He wrote a piece yesterday basically talking about that. He led with a quote from Sean McDermott, the Bills head coach, who they face this weekend, who says he hasn't seen anything like this before. And that's kind of what Adam wrote in his piece, that, every single – the NFL is a copycat league. You had the Wildcat in 2008, and you've seen the spread offense, the read option, lots of things that people have done. But I don't think anybody has created a different type of offense that's going to score 70. It's not going to score 70 points every game, but you see what the explosion was. And I did think it was interesting. I was watching Scott Van Pelt's show late Sunday night. Couldn't get enough of my Dolphin highlights. And they had Tim Hasselbeck on. And Hasselbeck said, listen, it's awesome, innovative, but it isn't completely different than what normal offenses run. And he broke it down and said, listen, here is a red zone counter draw to Raheem Mostert. But around that, you have Tyreek Hill in motion, and then you have Braxton Berrios coming in, and then you have A-Chain going the other way, and you have all these guys moving, and it's a normal counter for a touchdown that isn't touched within 10 yards because everyone's paying attention to everything else. Then he showed the amazing Tua shuffle pass. That was a right-handed shuffle pass, which you see Pat Mahomes do all the time, lefty, but it had a whole bunch of people moving in 1,000 different directions. Basically, Hasselbeck called it window dressing, that Mike McDaniels does better than anybody else because he's making you think he's going left, right, and straight when he's going down. And he's making you think he's going left, right, and up when he's going the other direction. So it's innovative to the point where he's just throwing a whole bunch of stuff out there. But if you break down the actual play, they're just normal plays with a whole bunch of stuff going on at the same time.
And then you factor in the fastest team in the league, makes it even more difficult for defenses to adjust to. There's no doubt on that. I'm just curious, when you watch Brandon Staley decide to go for it in his own end that late in the game, up 4, would you have fired him? We would have fired him out, even though they won the game. That was fireable to me. Was it to you?
I wouldn't have fired him because I would have fired him a year and a half ago when he did the
Fair enough.
He would have not been on my team coaching that game. I 100% agree with you. It's a fireable offense. Pretty much half of what he does, including coaching a team that has just as much talent as anybody in the NFL, and they can not even win a playoff game. I have a buddy who told me right after the Patriots rallied to beat the Falcons in the Super Bowl that he would have fired Mike Smith on the spot, because you don't come back from things like that. You just don't. You don't hear of any team who blows massive leads who comes back and wins the Super Bowl or does well years later. So you might as well cut bait now and not waste the next 3 years. Same thing with Brandon Staley. You don't come back from blowing a 4-touchdown lead in the playoffs to the Jacksonville Jaguars. You don't. I have no idea what went into the thought process of keeping Brandon Staley. But all of the why did he do this stuff, how can he not win with this team stuff, comes to a head when you blow a 4-touchdown lead. I don't know what else you need to do to get fired. So with all due respect to the Los Angeles Chargers, Brandon Staley's going for it on 4th down from his own 25 because he has a I don't give a crap attitude because he can't do anything to get fired, it seems. That's my viewpoint on the Chargers.
Well, I know a lot of people that I talk to in the league think that it's just because the Chargers ownership is so cheap that they don't want to pay an owner to not coach to not work. And since he still had a year left on his contract, that is why they brought him back. I hope that's not the reason, but I suspect that it is. We're talking with David Bearman of Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. Follow him on Twitter /X at David Bearman, BEARMAN PFN, David Bearman PFN. We have Zach Wilson in the same category as Jamarcus Russell and Ryan Leaf. We think he is that bad. We do not think he is an NFL quarterback, period. Like the top 64, we don't think he fits. I'm willing to say I don't think he's in the top 96. Okay. Where are you with Zach Wilson and what the Jets are doing?
I have enough sample size for seeing Zach Wilson over the last 3 years to 100% agree with you. I don't understand the loyalty there. I know last year it started splitting the locker room before they finally gave Mike White and others a chance. It's not like they have anybody real good to go to. I know they signed Trevor Siemian yesterday, but he's just not good. And I don't know how many more examples Robert Saleh needs, but yes, he had a good game week 1 when the whole world ended with Aaron Rodgers going down. So there was a lot of emotion that night. It was 9/11 and all that stuff. I don't get it. Maybe they're trying to save face because they don't want a quarterback controversy after losing their Hall of Fame quarterback that they talked the entire offseason on. But I do agree with you. In terms of NFL results, he's right there with Jamarcus Russell and everybody else.
If you're a Jags fan, you should be worried right now. I mean, this team last year was scoring at will, and I know their defense isn't, going to be that much improved from a year ago, but they're not scoring. They don't look good offensively. What do you blame that on?
I think there are definitely problems there. I know they're adjusting to new weapons on offense like Calvin Ridley, etc., but this definitely doesn't look like the Jaguar team that we saw in the playoffs last year. So they definitely should be worried. It's one thing to lose a close game to the Kansas City Chiefs. It's another thing to absolutely have a no-show last week to the Houston Texans. So I don't particularly know why they can't get it done. They have all the talent, but it's surprising with the coach they have and the weapons they have, they're not any better.
I thought I saw a stat yesterday. I don't know if it's for the season or just the last 2 weeks, but they lead the league in drops. Now, Trevor's not playing great, but I believe they have double-digit drops amongst their wide receivers combined in the last 2 weeks, and they are awful in the red zone. Hey, is there a surprise 2-1 team, Green Bay, Indianapolis, one of the teams in the NFC South, that you're actually now changing your tune on?
I think it would be Indianapolis is the biggest surprise to me. I did not have them rated very high at all, especially without Jonathan Taylor. Not a big believer in Anthony Richardson, but in totality, they're doing it with neither of them. Jonathan Taylor hasn't been there, and Anthony Richardson got knocked out in the middle of week 2 and didn't play week 3, and that was their best game of the season. So I think the rookie head coach had something cooking there, and they're doing well even without Richardson missing half of their games. He should be back soon. It was just a light concussion, and I'm not saying the Indianapolis Colts are going to make any waves or not, but that's a division that's completely up for grabs. That's probably the worst division in football. As the Jags don't take a hold of it, like, there really is no good second team in that division. We all thought Jacksonville was going to run away. So Indy, the way they're playing now, they can contend with Jacksonville, as you saw this past week.
Are you worried about the Bengals? Because that might be the best division in football this year. Cleveland looks like they've got a little something, particularly on defense. The Baltimore Ravens are a solid team. Pittsburgh's a solid team. The Bengals, yeah, they did win against the Rams on Monday night, but it was ugly. Burrow's not looked good. And to me, there are problems there. Do you see the same way?
I do. I don't think Burrow's healthy. I know he was questionable to play and then played. He couldn't throw the ball downfield. He couldn't really throw the ball short either. Their entire offense was 7-yard passes, Jamar Chase all night. There's something wrong with T. Higgins. It's not for the lack of targets. T. Higgins has gotten balls thrown his way. He is up there with the most drops in the NFL. So the offense is struggling. I think Joe Mixon will be fine. But if Joe Burrow's calf doesn't get better, and you don't really know how bad it is or how much it's impacting him, but his throws did not look like Joe Burrow on Monday Night Football. And they were playing a not so good team in the Rams, and they won a field goal fest. But there are issues in Cincinnati, and that's a division you don't want to fall behind in. As you noted, it is a very strong division with a whole bunch of teams that can win on any given day. So Bengals lucky to get that win on Monday night, because 0-3 might have been the end of days for them.
Do the Bills have a Ken Dorsey problem? All right. A lot of Buffalo people that I follow. I mean, the numbers with Josh Allen and Brian Dable versus Josh Allen and Ken Dorsey, the offensive numbers are very different. And I know that the head coach took over the defense from Leslie Frazier and got rid of him. Just wondering, do you think the Bills have an offensive coordinator problem?
The Bills definitely have not shown what they can do the first 3 weeks of the season. I thought they had a problem last year, and I think I said it on this program when the season started. There's something missing there. It might be Dorsey, because Allen in the offense does not look the same, but at the same time, there's a lot of mistakes that Josh Allen's making that Ken Dorsey can't blame him for. Maybe there are issues on offense, but when Josh Allen throws the pick in the end zone for no reason, that's not a Ken Dorsey problem. So it's a Josh Allen problem. So I think there's a combination of both, but they did look pretty good the last 2 weeks. So quietly have looked good. After a week 1 loss that got national attention, granted, they didn't play anybody, especially, crushing Washington last week, but they are looking better than they looked week 1.
The Cowboys just laid an egg. Is that a one-off, or is there a bigger issue with Dallas that you saw from the way they lost to Arizona?
I think it's a bigger issue. I think the offensive line is a mess. They can't really move the ball. They have a lot of red zone issues, and they didn't stop the run very well against an Arizona team. This isn't the Steelers, not the Dolphins. It was Arizona. Now, Arizona's a little bit better than people think, but I think that Dallas won those first 2 games primarily on defense. Obviously, the Giant game was all defense. And if Dallas doesn't score on defense, they seem to have some offensive problems that have been masked by that great defense and a 40-0 win opening week on national TV. I think the Arizona game exposed some things that were hidden the first 2 weeks of this whole McCarthy play calling, new offense, Dak, etc. Dak's continuing to make mistakes in the red zone, and the team's offense. They had 5 field goals week 2, won everything on defense week 1, and then only scored 1 touchdown against the Arizona Cardinals. So I think there are issues there that Arizona just exploited. And you're talking about an Arizona team with a rookie head coach that everyone has rated as the worst team top to bottom, and just went in there and beat Dallas easily, if you watch that game.
And had a fourth-quarter lead in Washington, a fourth-quarter lead against the Giants, to be honest with you. I mean, he is doing a good job with the roster that he has. He's David Bearman of Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. Follow him on Twitter/X at David Bearman, Bearman PFN, David Bearman PFN. David, we always appreciate your time. Thanks so much. Enjoy your work. Continued success. Hopefully we'll talk soon.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
David Bearman. That's soon. He's already booking himself for next week.
I like it.
Good.
Rapid fire NFL there. We pretty much got to just about every team you could ask for.
One thing I do want to point out about the Bills, Yeah, they scored, 37 or something like that against Washington?
Right.
Yeah. It was 16-3 going to the fourth. All three scores were either directly from the defense or set up with extremely short fields by the defense. The offense on first down in that game struggled in a big way. They were second and third and long, but now Washington can play a little defense. They got a good front and but I just, don't look at the final score of that game and think, they're actually offensively, the Bills are still not fully in gear.
We'll see what they do with Miami if they can run the ball effectively, because San Diego, there I did it again. The Chargers ran on Miami.
Right. But the Bills don't commit to the run most weeks. What if they get behind? Do you really? I mean, Mark, we've been begging for 3 years for them to hand the ball off to a running back, and they've got a really good young back too.
Your point is extremely valid. If Miami gets up, and this is going to be what they're doing all year long. I mean, that's their MO. Get up 14-3, force teams to pass, and then you can get after a quarterback. So we shall see. But the running game is, I believe you can run against Miami. I just don't know if the Bills will try enough.
I don't think they will. Like asking Andy Reid to commit to the run before Mahomes. Now we understand why they don't run it. Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett's next. Where else but the Florida Sports Network?
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me. Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Before we welcome in Seth to answer a few questions, July of 06 is when Miller and Moulton first started doing a show together. Let's see. Josh Rosen was the 10th overall pick and the 4th quarterback taken in that draft. I can't put him in the first, second overall pick category. And Seth, welcome. Michael wants to know, are you going to the Jets game on Sunday to see Taylor Swift?
No, I am going Monday though to see you.
Oh boy.
What do we think? Windows open, shade open, closed?
Fine.
I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
Normally it's like a huge glare, but today it's okay.
Don't worry, David freezes up every 30 seconds, so you
see this.
moving with light will be just great.
I see this.
It's funny because it's not freezing up on my end at all.
Yeah, but it's freezing up to the audience.
Yeah.
And me.
What you should do is every time it unfreezes, just go, and those are the people I know did steroids. I'm not telling you ever again.
I have to admit, you said to take the video off and it helps. We have not found that to be the case.
Well, if your audio is consistent, that is the case.
Well, but Mark, you tell me, is my audio affected or just video?
It's been both.
Yeah.
But not on the air.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of glitches.
Huh.
So if you keep the video off, then at least the audio sounds good, since majority of your audience is audio.
That assumes we have an audience, Seth.
Fair.
Seth, did you see our poll question that we posted today?
Not today.
We will be asking you it, Seth.
Late start. Should I look?
No.
Okay.
No.
I haven't had any Twitter time today.
No X time?
Oh, lots of X time.
No time with X?
A little triple X time.
Hello.
Hey, hello. Now we have the gas company coming today to assess and de-winterize the boiler because it's heat season. It's 48 degrees right now.
The what? You're doing what?
Every year we have our boiler serviced because it's a really, really old boiler. This is really not interesting.
No.
I didn't know anybody still had a boiler.
Oh, we have a boiler. And it
When was your
produces
house
heat.
built? 1847?
Yeah, log cabin.
You and Abe.
But we have better internet than Moulton.
Apparently everybody has better internet than this blanket Airbnb.
I heard a story over the Jewish holidays. One of my sister's relatives, they are working remotely. It's a guy and a girl. They're like in their early 20s. They're single. They live together, and they work remotely since COVID. And they don't have a home. They just Airbnb a different state every day. They travel the country, and they pick new places to live every 2 or 3 weeks. That's how they live.
That's nuts.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The 8 o'clock hour on a Wednesday means Seth Everett followed by Bud Elliott. That's how we roll and get you over the hump here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Seth with the two great podcasts, Sports with Friends and Hall of Justice. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Seth_Everett. We have a poll
I like
question.
Twix.
You like Twix?
Twix is good.
Yeah,
Milky
you know,
Ways are better, but Twix is all right.
Ooh, I would go with the Twix over the Milky Way.
Ooh, no.
They're in the second. They're in the second tier of candy bars to me.
All right.
But both very good.
Also, yeah.
Seth,
yeah.
Don't take us down this road, okay? Because honestly, we could do the whole segment on candy bars.
Candy bars?
Yes.
Can we do
easily.
next segment on cereal boxes, and maybe Bud Elliott can join us?
Seth, you were part of our shape up last week. You're part of our shape up again this week. That means we have a poll question up early and often in our show. And today's poll question is, can your team produce enough losing for you to divorce them?
No. But I did almost divorce a team. I mean, we're going to go down this road, but
no. We said losing, okay? Not some off-field controversy, like Mark.
No, then never.
Mark took, Mark's a proud Michigan State alum, and the Larry Nasser story and everything with it really bothered him. And for 3 years, Mark didn't wear anything Michigan State, put it all in a trash bag.
That's where I was going. Yeah.
The whole deal, threw it, and was, and would not speak proudly of his alma mater until everyone associated with the story was no longer associated with the university.
Completely correct. Completely correct. Yeah, that's
very
losing.
Fine.
Yeah,
but losing,
no,
we had a Raiders.
It was never
fan.
losing. It was never losing. In when I was really young, when I was like 10 or 11, I was a New Jersey Nets fan, and they had four guys go down for drug suspensions, like cocaine. And when they had their second, I said, if they have one more guy go down with cocaine, I'm out. And I remember saying that to my parents and to my friends. And then Charles Shackelford happened, and I was not a Nets fan. But I was a little kid. That doesn't count.
Yeah, well, cocaine does not qualify.
Yeah, that's not a losing. That's not losing. No, I've loved really brutal teams. I mean, of course, famously when I covered the Denver Nuggets and they went for the all-time worst record in NBA history, I was at a game and I was going on a radio show in Seattle, ironically, and I was at courtside. And Bryant Stith, you guys remember Bryant Stith?
Oh yeah, first round pick.
He went up for a layup, got fouled, goes to the line. And the radio host says, so bottom line, are the Denver Nuggets going to be the worst professional franchise in NBA history? And I forget where I am and just answer it and go, are you kidding? Look at their schedule. Do you think there's any team they can beat? And Brian Stith was at the line, heard me, stopped what he was doing, turned around and went, what the hell, man? I stopped an NBA game because of losing.
But you would not stop your fandom.
Never.
Okay.
Never.
Good to know.
And you are one of those unusual ones that you have multiple teams in the same sport that you like because of where you've worked. You're not just loyal to your New York, New Jersey teams. Your loyalties are spread across the country based on relationships you've had with teams.
Well, for me, I mean, I really only have 3 teams. I have the New Jersey Devils, Syracuse Orange, and Arsenal, which we have a game today, taking on Brentford, 2:45. Be there. ESPN Plus. But yeah, those are the only teams. I don't consider myself to have a baseball team. I definitely don't have a baseball team because, I've seen where the bodies are buried. And in football, I legitimately have 4 teams that I have a connection to, emotional or otherwise.
Hold on. So are you saying you had a baseball team until basically you started working for Major League Baseball and or with one of those teams and you found out too much?
No. What my thing with baseball is when I started covering the game, you become so immersed in it, you cease to become a fan.
Okay,
and so then I stopped becoming a fan. And ironically, the team I grew up liking, the Yankees, became the biggest pain in the neck when I was working. So I wound up despising them. And now I don't despise them, but I don't love them. I have a soft spot for the Rockies, the Mariners, teams that I was connected to, the Philadelphia Phillies. I hate the Mets with a fiery passion. it happens, but I don't consider myself a fan of any of those teams. In
Gotcha.
football, it's the Broncos, the Seahawks, the Jets, and the Giants, and I have a legitimate reason to like all 4 teams.
The Arsenal one is unusual, though, Seth. You are a middle-aged guy that found. I mean, you don't typically. We find teams in our
Years ago.
childhood.
Yeah.
And you found this team in your adulthood. That very rarely happens where you're all into a team that you found in adulthood.
Yeah, I mean, I always knew what they were because of my wife and her family. Her family, they're season ticket holders, and if you're Facebook friends with them, they go to all the games, and they are always excited. And in 2020, I needed something else. I needed another sport, and streaming services made it so easy and relatively inexpensive to watch these games. You tell your iPhone that you're a fan of a team. They tell you when these games are happening 3 days in advance. And the games are always at times that are conducive to me. I mean, I think this weekend they play at 9 a.m. Today's game is at 2:45. Those are perfect for me. And then I watch American sports at night. So Arsenal's been a great experience. I am not a front runner because the year I decided to become a fan, they weren't that good. They have been good last year, and they're off to a great start this year.
You brought up something, though, earlier, a few weeks ago. We, make predictions from time to time, trying to forecast the future. And Mark asked me something NFL related, and I said, Mark, we're going to have a European division in 10 years. We're going to have a 4-team European division. And he asked, why would you think that? And I said, the 9:30 a.m. time slot. Yep. I said, that's going to be a way for them to make a few extra $1 billion, probably with a streaming service, but maybe another network, a Turner, a CW, something like that wants to get in on the action. And don't you think they're looking at European football and going, well, hell, there's 1 million people getting up at 9:30 a.m. on a Sunday to watch West Ham, for goodness sakes. You don't think we can get 7 million people to watch the Broncos play the London Monarchs or whatever?
They could. I don't know how the Players Union is going to let that happen, but in football, the Players Union lets them do whatever they want anyway. So
hold on. It's 4 extra teams, 69 jobs times 4. That's 276 people gainfully employed. The union will go along with it.
All right. Hey, bring it on.
Well, and to your earlier point, that the union goes along with everything in the NFL.
In football, they don't stand up to anything. They don't do anything. It's fine if it grows the game and it brings in revenue. Good for them. Let them have it. These games, to me, I don't tune them in. I'm ready to watch 7 hours of football. Maybe the Sunday night game if it's compelling. I don't need a game at 9:30. I'm not jonesing for football at that point. That's just personally me. But I don't begrudge anybody to have it. Good luck.
Well, and you may not be clamoring for it, but I'll be curious. They're doing the Toy Story game this weekend. I mean, that's the one area that the NFL's got to work on. They don't need to really work on us. All these sports have a youth problem, and I don't know, Seth, how do you fix that when we're watching, when generations younger than us are consuming sports completely differently than we ever have?
Well, this year they're doing the Super Bowl with the Nickelodeon.
Right.
And we'll see how many people watch that. I mean, do you get 10 million people watching that? If 100 million people are watching the Super Bowl, it's crazy to think about. One thing I will say, you mentioned 1 million people will watch a Premier League game at 9:00 in the morning on a Sunday. Peacock and NBC are so bold. There was a massive game between Arsenal and Tottenham, and that's 2 of the top 3 teams in the standings. And they put that game on Peacock and had like a random Brentford game against somebody on USA Network, and their ratings didn't drop. The idea was they were trying to get people to subscribe to Peacock, and so they were putting this game on as a Peacock exclusive. But the reality of it is that people are watching regardless. They are killing it with their numbers, and their numbers are being reported, whereas Apple is not releasing MLS numbers. And I hate to compare the two leagues, but if we're going to look at the MLS and take it seriously, you have to know how many people are watching this thing.
Wonder if we'll ever find out. I wonder if the way we'll find out will be Messi's taxes. And I'm actually being very serious, since his deal is a profit-sharing deal. He gets money out of every subscription. Now, I know new subscriptions, old users could be part of the ratings, but I'm literally wondering, Seth, if a year from now, the way we're going to find out how those matches are doing is through Messi's taxes.
Well, there are a lot of people that are trying to find out. I mean, all these Sports Business Journal and Front Office Daily and all these guys, that's what they focus on. They want to know ratings. And there's this guy, Jonah Karp. He's a great reporter. His whole career is ratings. That's all he reports on. And that's his white whale. That's the big one, is what are these streamers getting and what are they revealing? And just when is there going to be transparency when it comes to that?
Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. What do you got, Seth?
Sports with Friends is really special. I attended a press event at the U.S. Open a couple of weeks ago on sports and mental health with the Surgeon General, Michael Phelps, and Naomi Osaka. And I got to participate in it, and the U.S. Open granted me rights to air it. So I'm, using parts of it and doing it, but technically, Michael Phelps and Naomi Osaka on Sports with Friends. It's a really fascinating podcast. These guys opened up like I'd never seen them before. It's a remarkable thing. And as soon as I left the press conference room, I said, "Can I use this? Because this should be a podcast."
All right, 10 seconds, Hall of Justice.
It's a report on the end of the strike, on the WGA strike. What's next, and what's next for superheroes?
I think we're all curious what's next.
I'm really curious what's next for superheroes.
Yes.
A lot of problems they could be solving right now instead of worrying about some of that stuff.
That's right.
Seth, as always, thanks. We'll do it again next week. Miller and Moulton, Bud Elliott coming up in 25 minutes right here exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail
The
East.
law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
San Diego, the update is it's probably now been delayed 2 months. Late yesterday, there was a filing before the Florida State Supreme Court. So they have filings in federal court and the Florida State Supreme Court to block this thing and eventually get it overturned. But yeah, San Diego now, they don't think they'll have gambling before Thanksgiving now. Well, dead struck. It's the way Florida. I mean, I will say that, Florida put a compact together different from what's ever been done before and different than the other 34 states. And before winning in federal court 2 rounds ago, most everyone who covered this story thought that what they put together was illegal. So they're trying to, right. They're trying to change federal law with the compact, with the deal they put together. Now they're 2 steps away from doing it, but yeah, dead struck. Pat called it the wing T.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Bud Elliott will join us a little more than 15 minutes time, and we'll talk hardcore college football with Bud. A lot to kick around as we're a third of the way through the season already. My goodness. If you're just joining us and you missed it last night, Rays won, but so did the Orioles. Orioles' magic number to clinch the East is 2. Marlins didn't play, but the Cubs blew a 6-0 lead and lost to the Braves. And so the Cubs and Marlins are tied in the loss column, and the Marlins win all tiebreakers. Doesn't matter who they're tied with. Diamondbacks, Cubs, Reds. They're tied with any of those teams for a playoff spot. The Marlins go. Cubs, for the record, lose all tiebreakers against those 3 other teams as well. Don't ask me what the tiebreaker is between Arizona and Cincinnati. Don't know. Phillies clinched the playoff spot in the 4 seed. Brewers clinched the NL Central in the 3 seed. And Brooks Robinson passed away yesterday at the age of 86, a Baltimore sports icon. Arguably, my vote is Michael Jack Schmidt, but there are those that contend Brooks Robinson, nearly 3,000 hits, 16 gold gloves, 18-time All-Star, is the greatest third baseman of all time. It's a hell of a case to make. It really is. And sports betting in Florida now looks delayed 2 months. 2 months because of illegal maneuvering yesterday by the folks trying to stop the monopoly that the state of Florida wants to have with the Seminole tribe. And that's what it is. It's a monopoly. No one, that's the only, would be one way to bet on sports in this state for 20 years, by the way, would be through the Seminole tribe. I mean, that's the definition of a monopoly. And folks affected by the monopoly are trying to stop it. And yesterday they filed a case before the Florida Supreme Court.
It is considered a Hail Mary to bring this case before the Florida Supreme Court. Ultimately, those in the know think it will go before the United States Supreme Court. But from the standpoint of us, the Florida sports gambler, well, you're going to continue to have Bet illegally if you bet. I mean, there's no other way about it. Bet with your offshore bookie, because the Hard Rock app's not going to be turned on anytime soon.
Last week, the word was that it was going to be turned on by this time this week. And so we asked the question, hey, when they turn this sucker on, how many of you are going to use it? And 85% of you are like, oh, I'm there, man. Hell, I was there 2 years ago when it worked for a month. Or no, I'll use it the first time. Mark was there 2 years ago. I was going to use it for the first time. So we know how you feel. You want to gamble. The question is, do you want choices with your gambling? And are you willing to be more patient for it? Mark, this is a story that came about yesterday. We could have talked about it yesterday, but we didn't. We had a lot of stuff going on, recap Monday Night Football and what have you. Did you see what is arguably the greatest NIL deal ever?
I'm guessing you're talking about the Iowa State deal with the Iowa pork, whatever.
The Iowa
Pork Farmers.
Pork Producers Association.
The Pork Producers Association. I apologize to all those in Iowa.
Mark, we've all heard of HIPAA. This would be IPA, IPPA, the Iowa Pork Producers Association. Now, you listen, there's a lot of problems in Iowa with football right now. First off, it's apparently the only state where college athletes are betting on sports is Iowa. It's not happening anywhere else. They're the only ones being charged with crimes, prosecuted, and losing their eligibility. Then you've got Iowa football, which, offensively, they're challenged. And that's a big story in that state. And the quarterback yesterday said, listen, I don't call the plays, okay? I just try to execute them. So this is going swimmingly. But if you missed...
And he transferred there to call those plays.
Correct, from Michigan.
Right.
Where he's used to having, decent plays called. So the Iowa Pork Producers Association must have got a hold of an Iowa State roster. And they went through it. And they found that there's a guy on the team by the name of Miles Purchase. Okay.
All right.
There's a tight end by the name of Tyler Moore.
Okay.
Right,
Purchase Moore.
There's a defensive lineman by the name of Tommy Hamann. Hamann. Tommy Hamann.
So Purchase Moore, Hammond.
And a linebacker by the name of Caleb Bacon.
That's right. Purchase Moore, Hammond, Bacon.
So it could be a law firm, but instead it's the Iowa Pork Producers Association NIL deal with 4 Iowa State football players. How can we not root for these players in this team to go on a huge winning streak?
Print ads with their uniforms on and their backs to you where it just says Purchase More Ham and Bacon.
So there's a table, and as Mark mentioned, the 4 players are standing on the other side of the table, and we see just their backs. Numbers 5, 82, 48, and 50. Purchase More Ham and Bacon. And then on the table is a huge plate of ham on the one side, and on the other side of the table is an even bigger plate piled high of bacon.
It's one of the more entertaining, and I mean, you've got to give it up. Iowa may not have it going on with their teams on the field, but between the NIL deal that the brewery put together with Iowa, where they're selling the Swarm beer, which is their NIL collective, at all the Iowa games, and a chunk of that beer money is going to the NIL, and now the pork producers locking in with Iowa State's Purchase More ham and bacon. 4 players. They've got the most interesting NIL deals going on in the country. I don't know if it's the best, David, but certainly the most interesting.
Mark, I could argue that actually Iowa's the coolest state in the country. You think about it, the Iowa football and Iowa athletics beer deal, okay, then the Iowa pork producers deal with the Iowa State football players, and once again, the only state in the country where college athletes are betting on sports is in Iowa. I mean, this is like Nashville and Vegas combined, okay, when it comes to football season.
Nashville and Vegas combined, huh? Iowa.
This is the coolest.
Sell it, Moulton.
Mark, it's until they snap the ball. Pre-snap, this is the coolest state in the country. Pre-snap.
And when the snap happens, it's going to be on national television this week. Iowa and Michigan State, your NBC Big Ten game. Can't wait for that.
There's a running joke going on in the industry. NBC announced last weekend they have a new president of NBC Sports. So this is his first full week on the job. NBC is paying combined $2.5 billion to show the NFL and the Big Ten in prime time. There are 2 games this week. Saturday night, Michigan State, Iowa.
Hello.
Followed by Kansas City against Zach Wilson and the Jets.
I can assure you that our programming coming up is much better than that because we have Bud Elliott next. And we'll get in knee-deep to college football with Bud on the other side. Thanks so much for listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps. Have a smile and a smile, and you can be in the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Loved the tweet there, Bud. Those that know, know.
You know, it's working out okay. I feel like a lot of these really casual people will watch one thing, and then like once that one thing goes away, they might want to find another spot for sports talk, and we'll be here. I don't know. I don't really love pretending, on the air, because then when do you let the audience know it's a bit, right?
I'm afraid to do bits anymore. Things that come out of my mouth. I'd just rather be honest and forthright. And if I get mad about something, I'm genuinely upset about something.
Like I'm going through my bookmarks. I mean, we had like national college football people saying Colorado as a playoff team.
Oh, come on.
I'm dead serious.
Now, I'll be the first one to admit I'm terrible with names. That's why you'll see me go, well, I like the Alabama quarterback that started the season. I get lost with all the names trying to follow 40 sports.
Sure, but you guys got to follow like you follow all the sports.
Right. It's a downfall of mine, but I could still look at Colorado and that was the easiest money on the board. He could have scored 70 on them if he wanted to.
Exactly. Yeah. The only thing we didn't know is would Colorado be able to pitch it around at all? But they've scored fewer points every single week of the season. Teams are getting a little beat on.
Sanders is getting killed.
Part of it's on him. I mean, we think we kind of think that sacks are a quarterback stat, and I think there are limits to that theory, obviously. But I mean, he takes forever to throw the football, and part of that's he's got the balls to sit in there and take the shots. But it's rough. Yeah, these NBC games are not good.
No.
Oh my God. Here's what I don't understand. They're the number 2 choice this year. There is very little CBS competition for games. How can this schedule be this bad this year?
I'm trying to think, who should they have chosen? Is there another game that is
Penn State at Northwestern?
That's the one that they chose. That's the one they chose.
They chose
Michigan State, Iowa.
They chose Michigan State, Iowa. The number 3 game, which got put on Big Ten Network at noon, is Penn State at Northwestern. Northwestern, the big win over Minnesota. They're 2-2. It's at Northwestern. Penn State's top 7 in the country. They're 4-0. How do you put Michigan State, Iowa ahead of Penn State, Northwestern?
When did they have to choose?
I don't know. But for $330 million a year, they should be able to choose at the last godforsaken.
Yeah, that I agree with. I just my thought is
By the way, how bad and for how long are my Spartans going to be, Bud? I mean, this year's gone. Next year's probably gone.
I think they beat Iowa this weekend.
What?
Iowa's god awful. I mean, that team looks like it's on the verge of quitting.
Well, so does Sparty.
I mean, Sparty kept fighting throughout that game. They had a chance to cover it at the end. They throw that late pick. They're driving.
How about the kid who scores the winning touchdown for Northwestern? Okay, crossing the end zone. Okay, drops the ball, goes 5-1, and makes the heart shape right into the camera. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, here's a crazy idea. If you're Michigan State, you hire Pat Fitzgerald?
I probably don't. I think you can do better.
Who would you get?
I think you could take Michigan State's going to be a better job than people realize because the money is really, really good there.
Will the Iowa State guy take it?
I think he could, but I don't know if he's somebody who wants to recruit at that level. And Michigan State is going to require you to win some recruiting battles. Iowa State does not require that of you at all. And some coaches just don't want to play the game if you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Right.
And I don't think that he is somebody who wants to play the game. I think there's a lot of interesting coaches. You could go take a look at Mike Elko, who's done a really nice job at Duke. I think there's a lot of I think you call Dave Clawson again and see would he finally leave Wake? There's going to be a real consideration from some of these coaches that are not in the quote unquote power 2. Because if Michigan State gets out of this Mel Tucker thing and they don't have to pay him very much as far as the guarantee money, they're probably going to have to pay him something. I imagine this will settle. They're not going to want Discovery to drag out forever. They're going to have a lot of money to throw around.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's a hump day edition of Miller and Moulton. You miss any part of it, whether it's David Bearman or Pro Football Network, Seth Everett, or our next guest. He's Bud Elliott. He's got 4 W-2s, 24/7, CBS, Nolecast. What else am I missing? Oh, the Cover 3 podcast. Yeah, he included that in his Twitter handle, Bud Elliott, the number 3, Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3. Hey, your season's already a third over. You okay with that?
I mean, it's a blast, but it's a grind too. I love it, but it's every single day if we want to stay informed on it. It's been fun.
And as he tweeted out, those that know, we do. It's why we have him on the show. It's why we've had on the show for quite a while, because we don't think there's anybody that knows the college football game better than Bud Elliott. And Bud, I know you're close to the Knowles program as well. When you look back at that Clemson-Florida State game, In order to have a special season, you have to have breaks. And I thought Florida State was outplayed for the majority of that football game, yet they still managed to come out with a win. That's the ultimate goal. It's what you're trying to do in that game. But there were some holes that were discovered in that game for Florida State.
Yeah, for sure. Florida State won a game that I don't think they had their A game with him, right? Like we really thought Travis would have to run the football in order for them to do it. And he just didn't do it, right? And so they're having to become just a drop back and handoff team. I don't think that's really unlocking their ultimate ceiling as a team if he's not going to run, which the shoulder seems to be bothering him more than was let on. Defensively, they started really poorly. And then they basically said, all right, plan B is just blitz the absolute heck out of Cade Klubnik. And they started blitzing, almost a 50% blitz rate over the final 9 drives. And Clemson scored 1 touchdown, and the Noles defense scored 1 touchdown there down the stretch. It was, like Clemson for much of the game looked like the better football team. That is a hard place to win. I guess they haven't lost by more than a point in a decade there, which is, kind of says something. But you get that win, and now you got basically a month to figure out some things with your team, get a couple guys back healthy, decide sort of what you want to be. They go bye week, Vatek, Wake, Cuse, all at home. Like that's kind of your get right month.
All right. You mentioned one of the 2 teams I was going to ask you about. They're both undefeated, Syracuse and Kansas. Like Kansas now ranked. They're playing Texas this week. Listen, everybody loves the coach, and they do have a quarterback. How for real are either one or both of these teams?
So I think Kansas is like so well coached, and they do a great job. They mess with your safeties. They find ways to create kind of easy scores. They play hard. But I think there is a limit to the defensive talent on Kansas. This is still the Kansas team that Texas, beat the brakes off last year, right? In Kansas. But I think they're going to make a bowl easily this year. Like they're not going to scrape to a bowl. They could probably win 7 or 8 games. Syracuse looks really good. My concern with Syracuse is that you had to run Garrett Schrader 25 times against Purdue, the quarterback. And you had to run him 14 times against Army. And Rodney Gadsden, his, as I think all Dolphin fans recognize the name, he's out for the year. That's one of their top receivers / tight ends, like maybe one of the top, kind of combo guys in the draft. The receiver Jones is out. Receiver Pena is out. So I am a little skeptical about the Syracuse offense, but I do think Syracuse does a tremendous job on defense. I do think both fall this weekend.
When you look at the Pac-12, are they going to just eat themselves up? Because they're not going to get the national benefit of the doubt, and they probably don't deserve it. But the conference is so good. I look at Washington, I see that they could be a playoff team. Oregon, they could be a playoff team. USC could be a playoff team. There are others in that conference that are pretty damn good as well. Are they just going to eat themselves up this year? And is that going to end up crushing their playoff hopes for a team?
I think the right teams in the Pac-12 have the 0 number in the loss column for the most part. Like the teams that we think will get the national respect, Oregon, USC, probably Utah after all this time, if Cam Rising comes back and they're able to win this weekend. Washington, perhaps, because they did go to a playoff under Chris Peterson. They have done some things. They won a title in the 90s. I think that like a 1-loss Pac-12 champion is like in full stop. Now, if there are 2-loss, that's a different question. We've never had a 2-loss team get in the playoff, right? I think we've come close. But the 2-loss to me is a more interesting conversation. But I think a 1-loss Pac-12 team is in. I think the better question is like if we did get 2 teams in undefeated, are they both basically locks if that Pac-12 title game is close? I don't think that they are. But I think a 1-loss Pac-12 is like hard in.
If we were to make the threshold be great, whatever your definition of great is, how many great college football teams do you see this year? Because we were talking the other day, we think if whichever one of the 3 in the Big Ten East, if they can emerge 12-0, then 13-0, they qualify as a great team. But like I don't think Georgia's a great team at all. I don't think Florida State's a great team. They have some elite talent. They're not a great team. We could go through the list here. If somebody emerges from the Pac-12 with a donut, I think they qualify as great. I don't think Texas is great. How many teams do you think right now are great, or is this the parity year of very good that we haven't had in a while?
0. Now, from a rating standpoint, I'm still giving Georgia the benefit of the doubt because I know Georgia's had a lot of important guys out, and they're starting to get them back, and they did look much better against UAB, just in terms of operating the offense and whatnot. But yeah, I think if you look at the traditional powers that we've had, who we know amass the most talent on their rosters, Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, they all had turnover at quarterback, and none of the quarterbacks there have looked great so far, right? Michigan might be great, but ultimately they are playing so slow. They're playing slower than Army. It's hard for them to pull away and win by margin to really open it up and show us, because they're playing they're taking 50 snaps a game. It's like they're treating the first 9 weeks of the season until they go to Happy Valley like the preseason. So I don't know if Michigan's great. I they're experimenting a lot with their run game stuff right now. We'll see kind of what the final form there is. But to you guys' point, I don't see a 2019 LSU. I don't really see a team that every single starter is getting drafted guaranteed, right? So I don't know, man. I think that this is definitely more of a parity year, but we have to leave open the possibility that somebody does emerge as great, who's just been treating the year so far like the preseason. I tweeted out today, 70% of your remaining undefeated teams have played a schedule so far outside of the top 90. Some are totally throttling that schedule, like in Oklahoma. Some, though, are not. They're just kind of treating it like preseason. They're running a lot of players in. They're working on stuff. It's hard to tell.
Is Notre Dame done? If they run the table, do they have a shot to get in? That would be beating USC. Or did they lose their playoff chances by losing to Ohio State Saturday night?
I took a lot of heat for this, but I don't see a realistic path for the Irish, right? You would need complete chaos, because I think they're going to lose out to a one-loss non-champion Big Ten team in most scenarios, right? You also, Notre Dame fans are sitting there looking at the upcoming opponents for the Irish, looking at all these undefeated ACC teams they play. But those rankings are not going to hold, because all those undefeated ACC teams are going to be playing each other, right? If you beat Clemson, all of a sudden that's a 3-loss Clemson team. And you would need basically Clemson to run the table the rest of the way. If you beat Duke, that means, oh, look, Clemson already lost to Duke, but Louisville has to play Duke. And so that the schedule for Notre Dame, this whole idea of oh, look how tough this is going to be down the stretch. Look how much credit we're going to be for beating these guys. That's going to fall apart a little bit, right? Also, if USC loses to Notre Dame, unless they get just completely blown out, which it's hard to just really blow out Caleb Williams, but they win the Pac-12, they're going to have so many good wins, much better wins than the Irish will have, 1 through 5-ish. I think they're going to get the benefit of the doubt, and they're a conference champion.
Does Freeman overcome the coaching mishap at the end of the game? Because we've seen instances like McElwain took Florida to back-to-back SEC championship games. And then he had the off-season incident with the fish, okay, and one bad press conference, and the boosters looked at one another and said, we got to get a new coach. That was even before they started winning or losing games that year. Charlie Weiss won 19 games his first 2 years at Notre Dame. There's a 60 minutes expose on him. He's walking around the field cursing everybody. The Notre Dame officials are like, I don't care what the contract is. We got to get rid of this guy. He's a blankety blank. I mean, I'm wondering, no matter how many games Freeman wins, do the money people at Notre Dame go, dude, we lost a game because we had 10 men on the field twice. What the heck?
I clearly, if he doesn't start winning a lot more games, they're going to come back to that, right? That's on him. And there's multiple ways you can avoid that scenario, and they completely botched it. I think, though, that the money people at Notre Dame don't, if it was a bad hire, which I'm not convinced it is yet. I would like to see more. I think you have to understand, if you hire a first-time coach who was a G5 coordinator 2 years ago, there's some chance he's going to have some growing pains. But if it's a bad hire, I think they'll be slow to admit that because of the whole like, hey, we upgraded when Brian Kelly left us mantra that all the money people at Notre Dame put out, right? This is better. This is going to unlock Notre Dame's elite recruiting level, which he's improved it some. They're still not winning the major battles out there quite so much, but there may come a time when he just doesn't feel big time. And if you're Notre Dame, you kind of want to have a guy that you're like, yeah, that's a big time guy. Like McElwain didn't really feel like a good fit at Florida, right? It was just kind of like Florida. I feel like you think you can get a rock star.
Speaking of the Gators, they've got Kentucky Saturday. Big win against Tennessee. They've got to build upon it. Will they?
I think they can get Kentucky. Kentucky has not looked very good to me at all this year. The quarterback, Devin Leary, looks more like last year's Devin Leary than he did 2 years ago's Devin Leary. Offensive line for Kentucky really has not gelled. Kentucky seems like they have they got athletic receivers, but they're not playing great. Like the offensive coordinator kind of called out the receivers. For Florida, though, they're just so game script dependent, right? I don't think Florida is a team that can really come from behind. They don't hit explosive plays in the pass game like at all. They have to play these like low scoring rock fights because they're very limited at quarterback and at receiver. So can they run the football a bunch at Kentucky? I'm expecting a low scoring game in this one. If you guys are picking up what I'm putting down there.
Yes, I do.
How much improvement have you seen from South Florida this year? I mean, in the last 3 years, they won 4 total games, only one against a 1A school. They took Alabama to the fourth quarter, and they outlasted Rice, not a great team by any stretch, but still a game they haven't come close to winning the last 4 years. We have Alex Golish on the show tomorrow. What do you want us to say to him?
I want to ask him, was he seeing signs of the offense clicking in practice? Because they played Western Kentucky to open the year, and Western is just one of the absolute worst defenses in the sport. I mean, they are a horrible defense, and USF's offense didn't look particularly good. It's like, oh man, if they can't score on Western Kentucky, that's going to be a long year for them. And they didn't move the football at all on Alabama, which is not, I'm not going to learn much from that, right? Because we know just physically, you can't block Alabama. But they hit explosive plays against Rice that they had not hit so far that year. I mean, I think they hit 5 plays of 40 plus, which is great. So ask him when did he start seeing the signs in practice that this offense was starting to click? Because there's been a real change in the last week.
Got an upset this week?
I think Michigan State beats Iowa. I think Iowa's broken.
Whoa! Listen, if that happens, then we start to have a serious conversation. It's one thing for them trying to get his son out as OC. He loses at home to a Michigan State program in disarray. You start talking about the end of the Kirk Ferentz era.
Guys, nobody runs the football in Michigan State so far this year. Iowa literally can't pass the football at all. Why can't this be a 7-3 rock fight? I mean, dude, Iowa ran 33 plays. They're fundamentally broken.
I know. After the second drive of the game, they ran 19 plays for 7 yards. Oh, I know.
I tweeted out, what was your favorite first down that Iowa had? There was only 2 to choose from before Penn State pulled the starters.
I got to tell you, I forwarded that to as many people as I could. I said, this guy's a guest on our show. This is the funniest tweet of the weekend right here. Which first down did you enjoy the most?
Most.
First or the second?
I think they're going to make a change at OC at the end of the year. I think. I would expect him to go back to the NFL. I think now that the lawsuit's settled, it makes him, you can hire him if you're the NFL. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. No. Just Bud Elliott, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports Family, Cover 3 Podcast, Nolecast. Follow him on Twix, Twitter, and X at Bud Elliott, the number 3. Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, and the number 3. Bud, as always, thanks. Good luck to your Rays in the playoffs when we talk next week.
Let's go, guys. I'll see y'all.
Bud Elliott, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. Look at that. Picking your Sparties.
Wow. I didn't think that was going to be said by anybody this year, David. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Jeez.
Bless you.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour, the Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Glad we're getting over it together. 6 to 9, we're on the Florida Sports Network. This is an exclusive hour in the 239. It's been a lively show if you missed it. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott in our 8 o'clock hour. David Bearman talking a little Dolphins and how innovative they are being at a little past 7:30. If you need to go to floridasportsnetwork.com and download what it is you missed. And while you're there, vote on our poll question, okay, which is about divorce. No, not that kind of divorce. Whether or not your team could drive you to divorce them. Could they lose enough, like they did apparently to a middle-aged Raiders fan, that he, in anguish, took to social media yesterday and said, I cannot be a fan of the Raiders anymore. They are affecting my mental health, my life, my overall happiness, and I must let them go.
He is a little old to be in his 40s to go the mental health route. That's not something of that generation. That's typically a little bit younger, where they cite the mental health reasons for the reasons that they are, for whatever reasons they are. So I'm a little surprised that someone could get to that age and divorce at that time. Like Chris sent an X to us, David, said, I wish I could dump the Flyers, but I can't. I'm 45, and I don't think I'll ever see a Stanley Cup. I mean, he's literally admitting defeat, that he'll never see his team hoist Lloyd Stanley's Cup, and yet he can't divorce them.
Well, Mark, he has not seen them hoist Lord Stanley's Cup in his lifetime. And right now, they're a mess. They're probably going to need 3 or so years to get out of it to become a playoff team. And that's if they do everything right. So he's thinking to himself, hell, we're not even going to be good again until I'm 50.
Bingo. But as the COO of the Cincinnati Reds so famously said a year ago, David, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? And that's the thing. We've been fans. The majority of us have been fans since childhood for the same team. And so to all of a sudden dump that fandom and have that same fandom for another team seems impossible to most of us. Impossible.
So I've mentioned him before on this show. His name is Ed Svita. He is Joe Buck's longtime stats guy. 22 years he's been with Joe. He's literally missed one football game that Joe has done. I'm pretty sure it was because of a family wedding. And he was trying to figure out a way that he could do the game. And Joe said, if you show up, I will fire you. So that is the only game he has missed in 22 years. And he is a proud Philadelphia sports fan. He is everything Philly. He's the guy I tell you about that and he did it again Monday night in the booth. Eagles scored. He yells over at Aikman, hey! And he starts flapping his arms like the wings. We're flying. Okay. Oh, yeah. Sometimes Troy doesn't even hit the cough button. He just starts. That might be him laughing at Svita. Could be him laughing at Joe Buck. Might be him laughing at Ed Svita. Proud Philadelphia sports fan, Mark. He is now a New York Knicks fan. I almost drove the car into a building. I went, what?
What?
Thank you.
I mean, because that's not just divorcing.
Yep.
That's divorcing and
right.
Marrying her best friend.
Right. And I go, is this permanent? He goes, well, I think it's going to be for a while. And I go, you're a Sixers fan, right? He goes, yeah, but Mark, like you, he's a Nova guy. That's his number one fandom. Even more than the Eagles and the Flyers and the Phillies. And he's big on the Eagles and the Phillies. Big. But his number one fandom is Villanova. It's his alma mater, where he met his wife. He was the mascot for a couple years at Nova. I mean, he is into Nova. Works their games. Yes, he was the mascot. He proposed in the mascot costume, I think. I might be wrong. I thought I saw the picture got down on bended knee. Anyway, she was then the scorekeeper for. She's still the scorekeeper at basketball games. I mean, this is a Nova family. Well, the Knicks have like 37 guys from Villanova on the team now. I mean, in fact, I don't know if you're allowed to play on the Knicks unless you went to Villanova.
This goes back to what I was saying earlier, though, about the players. You can have a side piece in an instance like this. They have Dante DiVincenzo, they have Jalen Brunson, and they have Josh Hart, all part of a Villanova championship team.
Well, and Brunson, Jalen Brunson, right? I mean, and I said to him what we were discussing earlier. I go, are you just having an affair? Is this a fling? Or are you saying and telling your friends you're done with the Sixers? And he said, yeah, I'm done with the Sixers. The last 10 years, the process, the drama and what have you, I divorced myself with the Sixers. I needed a new team to root for. I'm rooting for Villanova North. I'm rooting for the Knicks. He lives in Philly. He's a proud Philadelphia sports guy. And he's telling them all, yeah, I'm rooting for the Knicks. So far,
I understand it. I get it. I mean, because my Golden State Warriors fandom comes from one player. It's not Steph Curry. It's when Draymond Green went there. He's from my hometown. He went to Michigan State. I'm a Draymond guy. I love him. Shocking no one that listens to this show.
Right. So if he's got 3 or 4 more years with the Warriors, and so do you.
Right.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this, though. What if this is his final year? Because is he in the final year of a contract?
Yes.
What if he signs a 3-year deal with Sacramento?
I don't know if I'll be saying go Kings. Because there was a lot that,
right.
There was more than just Draymond going there. That when they started to make their run, I was on my honeymoon in the Bay Area and watched the fandom happen in front of me. They weren't champs yet. They just made a little playoff run. And we happened to be there for it. And we
got the fever.
Yep.
You got the fever. You came home with Warrior stuff. I said, what the hell is this? He said, oh, trust me, it's happening. It's happening. They're taking over the area. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, trust me. Trust me. It's all they could talk about was the Golden State Warriors. See, that's the Miller and Moulton R&D. That's why we do R&D when we travel. Mark Miller was ahead of the national storyline by at least a year. Why? He was on the front lines. He was pounding the pavement. He was shaking hands, kissing babies, pressing the flesh.
I do love the people in the Twitch chat room who have pointed out that they are so diehard for their team that when they play fantasy football, they won't even draft players from rival teams. That's outstanding. I want you in my fantasy league. I think it would give me a better shot to win, but it doesn't matter. I still love you for it.
See, and I'm like Paul in our Twitch chat room. This is what gets me about fantasy football. You have diehard Eagles fans who are rooting for Cowboys players to do well. Okay, why? So they could win. See, I'm with you. I just couldn't go there. But Coach Grizzle saying, I drafted Drew Brees every year just because. I got you. I hear you. Tell you what, though, if you're a Dolph fan this year, if you went all in, and those of you who didn't draft Tua, you know who you are. Please tell me you took him as your second quarterback and now you're starting him. At least tell me that. Anyway. So that's our question. Could your team lose enough that you divorce them?
And the numbers are holding to about what I thought they would, David. 85% are voting no till death do us part. And I would be stunned if it deviates much from that.
Remember, the divorce rate in this country is 50%, but apparently among sports fans, it's 85%. So it's only 15%. So 50% in real life, 15% in sports. Translation, Americans are more loyal to their helmet and shoulder pads than they are to their spouse.
Yes. Yes, they are, David. You can go find another husband or wife.
Oh, yeah.
Find another team.
You can find another team, okay, but can it work out? I know what you're saying, though. Depending on the league, there's only 30 to 32 choices. I get it, right? We're in theory, but then again, I mean, how many of us date 30 people? And no, Mark, you can't spend the rest of the segment counting. Okay.
Don't want to. I don't want to count. I am very happily married. I don't want to do any of that.
Right. Now,
the hamster started going, yeah, you can do that. That can be
okay. Now, if those of you who want to count, just pull over before you do it. Either that or expect to be stuck at a light and they're beeping behind you. Okay. And then you'll lose count. They'll beep. You're at 15. You'll have to start over again. So there you go. That's our question. It's brought a lot of lively response.
And I realized that I have flirted. I have cheated. I have been bad to my sports teams. I have not been loyal to my teams. They haven't done much for me by winning either, though. So they've kind of let me down. I mean, at some point, that's what we're asking. Can you be let down so much that you just dump your team?
Yeah, but if you married them, I mean, it's till death do you part, right? Or is it?
It's an illegal marriage. You were a minor when you did this. When this marriage happened.
There was probably a ceremony in a household at some point in time in your life. Between the ages of 8 and 13, I'm pretty sure that ceremony took place. Boy Scouts, DeMolay, the teams that you root for. I mean, those ceremonies happen at a young age.
Yeah, they happen either at Christmas or on your birthday when you get that jersey or that hat or that glove or that autographed ball. Absolutely, David. $21,000's the text line. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on X. I'll get there. I hate it.
What, Twix?
X.
I don't know why Twix hasn't taken hold. I think that's a hell of a compromise. It's known as X. We all want to keep calling it Twitter. Let's just go Twix.
And I just keep thinking of Xavier McDaniel the whole time.
I think of the candy bar. And I like Twix. That's why I keep saying it. To me, it's like I'm having a candy bar, or at least a bite of one. Those were the days. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You'd have been impressed with my golf yesterday, David. 49-38. Really impressive.
There you go. That's how you keep the handicap consistent right there.
Jesus.
87 the hard way, baby. Hey, it's better than 38-49.
Yeah.
Those are the rounds in which you just go, I'm done with this game.
That 38 was with a double, too. It is one thing about playing golf down here that is so different. You just can't miss a fairway by that much because then it's out of bounds. Then you're in a backyard. Where, you know, I mean, you play course up north, there's trees. So you punch out. You're
right.
Either that or there's just water lining everything. For a radio station, the hallways here are really loud.
Well, there's virtually no local shows, so. Where, Adam? Near you?
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, the Diamond District bonus hour. Mark, I will say this whole discussion about, can your team just break you and you end up divorcing them? You're like, I can't take it anymore. And while right now 85% say, no, I can put up with it, Bears fans seem vulnerable right now. Because remember mid-August, there was that week-long story. Who bettors were betting the most money on to win the MVP?
Right, it was Justin Fields. He was getting all kinds of action. The odds were ridiculously low for someone who had done nothing in the league.
Right, but he was going to have a breakout season, and the Bears are going to be much better than people think, and the division was down, and you watch, baby. Justin Fields and the Bears. They got him a wide receiver, and this baby's about ready to take off. And he threw like 3 passes in the preseason, and they all went for big plays, even though they were all at the line of scrimmage. Okay, and people were going nuts, drinking the Kool-Aid. And now, 6 weeks later, these same people are broken. And the thought even of potentially having like the number 1 pick in the draft and drafting another quarterback, they're so broken, Mark. They're like, well, we'll get it wrong.
That's it. They'll get it wrong. That quarterback will be a bust. You're right, David. It's probably the most vulnerable group out there because they bought into some fool's gold.
They did.
I will say on this show, Pat Kerwin said in August that the Bears were not going to be good.
Right. And had
That's
big
co-host.
concerns about Fields. Yep.
That's co-host is a Bears pre and post and does a lot of work on the Bears radio network, Jim Miller. And Jim Miller was not high on the team that he played for. And Pat told us that.
So just saying, Mark, I don't know how many of the Bears fans are vulnerable to a divorce proceeding, but they seem pretty vulnerable right now, as vulnerable as any of the years that we've dealt with them.
And on top of it, the Cubs squandering a 6-run lead last night
doesn't help.
Really doesn't help.
No. No.
Now, maybe there's a little hope because I will say we've not talked about it because we don't do a whole lot of association talk, but there are, the Bulls are now in the Dame sweepstakes, apparently.
Right. Them and Toronto, apparently, are the 2 front runners now for Damian Lillard. Because apparently Miami, has their offer on the table and they haven't budged. Apparently, they haven't called the Blazers, in 2 months. They're like, this is the offer. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, I think the Blazers have no interest in getting fleeced. So I'm not really expecting Damian Lillard to come to Miami, nor do I care, honestly.
Oh, you're just
that's
look
a
at that
big young man right there. You can
that's
hear it in his voice.
I don't care.
That's so cute.
He's
put his defenses up. Okay, he's
care. They don't need him.
He's right. No, they're good. They're good. Yeah, they're fine.
Just went to the NBA Finals without him.
Yeah, I understand that. And if you think that group can do it again, okay, I think you're mistaken. That was a run. You got to admit, they got on a run.
Right, a run that they also went on without Tyler Hero.
Yeah, and we can debate the pluses and minuses of that, quite frankly. And by the way, Tyler Hero's in the trade offer. But anyway, but that's cute. He's got his defenses up so that this way he's not going to be disappointed. Yep. We don't need him. Blah, blah, blah. That's cute. That's good. I like it.
The body language mimics the voice, by the way, just so you're aware, David. The hands are getting put out. He's pushing us both back right now.
Cut the crap. Deal or no deal. If it's no deal, fine. Stop this rumor talk.
And see, by the way, there's a little bit of angst in that tone right there.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the way apparently the Heat are handling things. The Heat are kind of like, hey, man, we made an offer. I mean, because here's the other part of the equation. Doesn't he have a no trade?
Yes.
So he may have just said to him, I'll waive the no trade for Miami. Chicago and Toronto could have a hell of a trade offer, and Lillard could go, no, I'm good. What part of I only want to go to Miami? Are you having trouble hearing? So that's another reason why I think deep down, I'm just telling you right now, it's not like there's not collusion in this league. It's not like the sides don't talk to one another when they're not supposed to. I think the Heat have the offer they have on the table because they've been assured by Lillard and his folks, yeah, it's you or nowhere. So you don't need to up the offer. Okay? Just keep the offer as is. Trust me. Because when they come to us and ask permission for the trade, we're going to go, is it Miami? Well, no, it's Chicago. No, I'm good.
Not interested. But that had been quiet for months, and now Chicago and Toronto emerged in the last 24 hours. Really, it's popped a little more than.
Well, you know why, Mark?
Well, yeah,
What
Camp
starts
open
over
up
the weekend. And there you go. There you go. Uh-huh.
Season's less than a month away.
Some of us are excited for that. Some of us think that the league starts like after All-Star game, but okay.
And others think it's on Christmas Day.
Right. Apparently, they're going to try to play this tournament in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Good luck with that. But, yeah. Hey, you watched a period of preseason hockey yesterday.
Oh, I didn't watch the whole period. I watched a good 10 minutes of it, though. I watched half of a period of preseason hockey last night. That's right.
That's unbelievable. And I'm very fond of you, but I'm also not very disappointed. I mean, really.
Are you really disappointed?
Yes, I am. Come on. There's less checking in a preseason hockey game than there is the All-Star game. That's not hockey. It's figure skating with a puck. Come on. That's ridiculous. What are you doing? Seriously?
It was more or less, I haven't had ESPN Plus on a while. I had to make sure everything was working. Had to get ready for the year. But yeah, I admit it. The first step of knowing you have a problem is admitting that you have one. And David, yesterday I watched preseason hockey. I have a problem.
The NHL should find you, put you in their ads. In fact, that's what I would do. Hockey season's upon us. I know. I watched preseason the other night. There you go.
Because there's hope at this time of year.
Yeah, you say so. Yeah, depends on the team. Although you've got hope for the first time in like 5 years, so I could see where you'd be into it. You can make the playoffs this year,
right? Probably won't, but should be hanging around when it's, hopefully they're going to be like the Marlins.
Yeah, totally. By the way, apparently the Panthers have had like their best ticket sales ever. Or best ticket sales anyway since they've been in that arena. Their first few years, obviously, they were doing great with attendance, and they went to the finals early and the whole deal. But apparently since they moved to the BB&T or whatever it's called, apparently their ticket sales are great. So, good.
About time.
Yeah, should be. Got a good, entertaining product.
And it should be pretty darn good again this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So look at the two of you. Got the one guy trying to condition himself for the Lillard trade that may not happen. And then the other guy's watching preseason hockey. Wow.
Goobers,
they
say.
There's a lot going on in that studio now that I'm gone.
I don't know if any of it's good, David. I don't know if any of it's good. I do know that we'll finish things up with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when and what's on tap. That's how we finish it up every day, right here. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So I was looking at Heat tickets, and the Lakers are in town on November 8th. And the game before is the first play-in or mid-season tournament game that the Heat hosts against the Wizards. Tickets are $35. What do you think the cheapest ticket is for that Lakers game?
$150.
$180. My God.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. The bonus hour, the Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton in the 239 as part of the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Roy Cummings to talk Bucks, Alex Golish, the South Florida football coach, and Dr. Roto to answer your fantasy football questions, all on the show tomorrow.
You know, our poll question today has been very simple, David. It really is. Can your team lose enough to make you divorce them? Got this text. We were just talking about the Bears. It's the Bears fan. Says, I knew better to buy into the hype, but I was hopeful. Now I'm very close to a divorce. After 55 years of marriage, hell, we buried my dad in his Bears garb. That's how diehard he and I are. But I'm just sick of it. Think about that. 55 years. Dad buried in his Bears stuff. And he's done with them.
That's a little disrespectful, if you ask me.
I think the Bears have been disrespectful to him.
I think it could be worse. I think.
That's going to be quite a conversation with Dad.
Yeah, well, he probably has it every Sunday. Probably, I mean, his dad's gone, going, Dad. But I mean, it's not like he's going to start rooting for the Packers or the Vikings.
No, I know, but just because you don't remarry doesn't mean that people aren't upset about the divorce. I'm just saying. Oof.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1825. The first steam locomotive to carry passengers on a public rail was done so in England. 1905. Einstein's paper introducing the equation E equals mc squared was published in the physics journal. Kind of a biggie.
Yes. Has stood the test of time.
It really has, David. Well said. 1908, the first Model T Ford leaves the plant in Detroit. 1912, W.C. Handy publishes Memphis Blues, considered to be the first blues song. 1919, this guy named Ruth sets a home run record of 29 with this third inning blast. Wonder whatever happened to him. 1930, Bobby Jones wins the U.S. Amateur 8-7, his fifth national amateur title, and he clinched golf's Grand Slam with it. 1942, Glenn Miller and his orchestra give their final performance because Miller quit the band to join the U.S. Army. Huh? How about that?
You guys suck so much, I'd rather get shot at.
Bingo. Done with this guy. Ezra Charles defeats Joe Louis in 15 rounds at Yankee Stadium today in 1950. The Tonight Show premiered on NBC, hosted by Steve Allen today in 1954. Bob Gibson recorded his 13th shutout of the year today in 1968. Streisand released The Way We Were today in 73. Marvin Hagler claimed the middleweight championship crown today in 1980.
Vito Anafirmo? Is that who we beat?
He defeated Alan Minter. Had to be escorted away by police because a riot formed in London where the fight was.
Oh, that's right. He beat him on the road.
Yes.
Man, there were great fights in those days. Anafirmo, Minter, Hagler. Oh, man.
1982, Sean Connery's Last Time as Bond, Never Say Never Again, began filming. Today in 83, Tim Raines becomes the first since Ty Cobb to steal 70 and drive in 70 runs in a season. 87, Europe beats the U.S. 15-13 at Murfield. After a 13-0 unbeaten record over 60 years, we lose on home soil for the first time.
And I think Jack was the captain at home.
Greg Louganis won the 10-meter platform gold medal to get the double diving medal after already winning the 3-meter springboard gold in '88. In 2005, the Braves clinched their 14th straight division title.
Now, it was helped by the strike. They were like 6 or so back of the Expos in '94 when the strike hit in early August. And the thought was they were not going to catch the Expos that year. But the wild card was supposed to start that year, so they would have made the playoffs.
And in 2008, Greg Maddux wins his final start of his career, number 355. Samuel Adams, Dick Shop, Kathy Whitworth, and Meatloaf all born today. Randy Bachman is 80. Michael Schmidt is 74. Gwyneth Paltrow, 51. And Lil Wayne's 41, David.
Michael Jack Schmidt, 74, huh? He's still probably better than anybody the Mets currently have at third. I went to a Jesuit college, so this kind of hits with me. The Jesuit order was established on this day in 1540. So we're coming up on 500 years of the Jesuits. I asked my mother when I was going to college, I go, so talk to me about the Jesuits. She goes, they take care of the money. I go, oh, okay, thanks. I don't know if that was, the best scouting report or not, but that's what I went with. And listen, things were a little different during the Revolutionary War, Mark. So today was the day we decided in 1779 we're going to seek peace with Great Britain. It took 2 months to get John Adams on a boat. Then when he got on the boat sprung a leak. It took him 3 months to get to Paris. So they decided today they were going to negotiate peace. They didn't actually sit down with the British until like late February of the next year. And the British basically said, yeah, we're not interested. Could you imagine being John Adams? Like, what do you mean you're not interested? I just spent 3 months on a boat. We sprung a leak in the middle of the Atlantic.
Right. Didn't know I could die trying to seek peace.
Can I at least get some tea? What the heck? I mean, could you fake it for a couple of weeks? So we kept fighting. That's all I got.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, we have a name change. Oscar Mayer renamed the Wienermobile to the Frankmobile. And it went over so badly that in a very short time, the Wienermobile is back, David. No more Frankmobile. It is now back to its original name, the Wienermobile. First created in 1936. It's gone through several different.
I have a question. Well, not so much a question. I thought something similar might happen when Dunkin' took donuts off their name. They're like, we're just going to go by Dunkin'. I thought there might be a little, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but no one eats donuts there.
Well, that's what I realized. See, right. I'm not a coffee drinker. I go to Dunkin' Donuts for the donuts. And they look at me funny. They're like, really? So you're the one here for donuts, huh? Cute.
We go to Pittsburgh for the bad, where Mount Lebanon officials say a 10-year-old boy was behind the wheel of a Bobcat that he took from a nearby construction site and drove the heavy piece of equipment down a couple of roads, took out a couple of vehicles, caused damage to some property. And now I just got to figure out if I'm related to this 10-year-old. No, I think my nephew's 11. I think I'm safe since it's something I could see Harry doing.
So did they just leave the keys in it? Did he break into the office and they were hanging on a hook on the wall? How did he get the thing going? Is it like the new rental cars? You just, as long as you have the key, you press the button? I mean, what the heck?
Not in the story. But neighbors are happy the boy's safe. But he did some damage with the Bobcat.
Bet he did.
Finally, the ugly. We go to Ave Maria, where Joel Cham was sitting outside with his friend, Paul Arnold. They've been friends 15 years. They were listening to music, hanging out. All of a sudden, Arnold says, I got to do this, and slashed his best friend's throat.
What?
Slashed his best friend's throat. He ran down the street trying to stop the bleeding, called 911. He's going to be okay. His best bud's going to be doing some time.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
It's awful.
It is awful. And it is the ugly on today's Good, Bad, and Ugly, September the 27th, 2023.
Wow. Caught me off guard with that. So, Marlins have a doubleheader with the Mets. First game's at 4 o'clock. I got to say, this is their best pitching matchup since they're undecided on who starts the nightcap. I'm wondering if that means Johnny Cueto, who I will say the Mets have never hit well. But Braxton Garrett, who was supposed to start last night, the lefties against Mets journeyman lefty Joey Lucchesi. The Mets send their best pitcher to the hill in the nightcap. So if you're the Marlins, man, get the 4 o'clock game. Your odds are better in that one. You're the betting favorite in that one. This postponement, though, messes the Marlins up because Braxton Garrett was in line to start Sunday. And right now they don't know who would pitch Sunday. And it could be for a playoff spot. I mean, no big deal or anything. One other afternoon game. I think it involves the White Sox, hosting the Diamondbacks, which also has meaning to the Marlins because the Diamondbacks are only a game ahead of the Marlins. Marlins win tiebreakers with them, too. They win tiebreakers with everybody.
Man, National League playoffs, Brewers, Diamondbacks, Marlins. That is just ratings gold.
Fox and ESPN are like, hey, you didn't mention the Cubs. What are you doing to us? Okay, I mean, if we get the Braves, the Phillies, the Dodgers, and the Cubs, we can do something with that.
You really can, too. Because you got to work to make something out of the American League.
Especially, I mean, if the Cubs would be the 6, beat the Brewers in the first round, they could have a Final Four in the National League of the Braves, Phillies, Dodgers, and Cubs.
And they need it.
They'd be like, this is fantastic. Oh, yeah, because it's just ratings gold over in the American League.
Rays in Toronto, that's a nationwide watch for baseball.
No doubt. That's a talk. That'll be like when they give the AFC South games back in the day to ESPN, the first playoff game. Well, you knew that was the 4:30 Saturday game. That's where the Texans play.
And the Astros could get bounced and not even make the playoffs?
Well, exactly. And by Seattle, the networks are like, seriously? You're going to give us the Marlins and the Mariners instead of the Cubs and the Astros? What are you doing to us?
So big doubleheader today for the Marlins. If they want to be a playoff team, 2 wins would go a long, long way to make that happen.
So remember like 3 weeks to a month ago when the Inter Miami, Messi's team?
Right.
They were winning all these matches that didn't count in the standings?
Correct.
It was all part of what was called the U.S. Open Cup. So apparently tonight's the finals. They're playing the Houston Dynamo. I don't know if Messi's playing. 2 matches ago, he only played 37 minutes. He left with an injury. He didn't play Sunday in a tie against Orlando. Those matches all counted in the standings. This one doesn't count. This is for a trophy. Be curious if he plays. It's kind of a big deal, at least in the sport. So.
The U.S. Open Cup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right there behind the Stanley and my favorite cups. In fact, I'd rather be cup checked than watch the U.S. Open Cup. Miller and Moulton. Have a great rest of your day. Dr. Roto to answer your fantasy football questions tomorrow. Thanks for listening to the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095.